Edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Jack Johnson hanging out with us, the Drake running the operation. We've got you for 4 hours on a Friday. We made it. We made it to Friday, finally. I finally got to Friday.
Why are we here on a Saturday?
This is so, let me tell you how odd it is that this is a Saturday that we're here.
You screwed me over.
Okay. That was in confidence.
And I woke up this morning thinking it was Saturday.
See, there you go. Gotcha.
I was like, oh yeah, Chiefs play tonight.
On Friday. They do. They do play tonight. You're right. They are in Seattle or heading to Seattle. They've got that game tonight, 9 o'clock on KSHB. We'll talk about some Kansas City Chiefs stuff, what we'll be looking for. We'll talk some college football along the way, some Major League Baseball. We'll get into a little bit of the documentary, The Kingdom. Watched the first 2 episodes last night. I'll probably watch the final 4 episodes over the weekend. But some things to take away from the first couple of episodes last night. We'll get into that. The conspiracy theories continue to be out there, including one of Kansas City's favorites in PFT and Mike Florio, passing along conspiracy theories a day after explaining the question that he then asks the next day. I mean, just like, boy, that is right out of the book of clickbait. Just right out of the book. You spend Thursday explaining how this happened, and then the next day you ask the question, I mean, this seems odd, right? Why is it happening like this? That's just so stupid, man. So we'll get into some of those things, and I think also a little bit of a misunderstanding of the process, even from some Chiefs sites surrounding the Rice suspension, the number of games, etc. We'll talk some Chiefs and things like that. Matt Derrick will join us coming up at 11 o'clock. Mick Schaefer in the noon hour. We got the cuts before the show is over tonight. Central Bank pregame show at 6 o'clock. Royals in action against the White Sox. A crucial 3-game series for them before they welcome the Texas Rangers in for 4. They have 7 games remaining on this homestand. 2-1 so far. They have already lost more games than I thought they should lose in this 9-game set against the Twins and Nationals and White Sox.
Should have settled out of court.
No. The point that lost anyway. You lost it. Settling out of court would have been a loss. And
no, we're still alive.
Yeah, but the point of me not settling out of court is 6-3 wasn't good enough to make the playoffs anyway. You could have settled out of court for 5-4. Could have settled out of court for 4-5. I mean, you could settle out of court for a lot, but it doesn't mean that you actually won in the end.
Should have settled.
No. Settling is settling for not a playoff appearance. Is what you're settling for. Because when you put it guaranteed, all you're doing is saying you've got a guaranteed piece of bleep.
So then you're saying
for your
officially,
sake, for your daughter's sake.
Then you're saying officially the Royals are out of the playoffs.
I mean, I've said that since
you're saying they're done.
I've said that since probably June 20th. I think is when I said they're going to miss the playoffs. I've said all along, I hope they're wrong. I hope I'm wrong that they do make the playoffs. But I've said it for a while, and you just went 3-3 against the Twins and the Nationals. I mean, I'm not sure how people are like, well, how crazy is it to think that they're going to make the playoffs with now 41 games remaining. 41 is the mic of games that are remaining for the Royals, and they're going to turn this thing around. What I do think is a conversation moving forward. One, obviously a big series against the White Sox. They can still make the playoffs. Do I think they will? No, but they can still do that. I want to talk Seth Lugo here in this first segment. He is not pitching this weekend because he pitched Wednesday, and it is now back-to-back games where he has given up 7 runs. But it is 4 games since he signed his contract that he has pitched that have been less than stellar, subpar, pretty concerning. 18 innings pitched, 18 earned runs, 14 walks, 11 strikeouts. He's given up 6 home runs in those 18 innings. He's got a whip of 1.6. So putting on almost 2 base runners per inning in the 18 innings that we've seen him pitch. This is a simple sort of question to start the conversation. What's the concern level for Seth Lugo moving forward? The contract is signed, sealed, delivered. You've got him for a couple of more years after this year. It's not the best 4 games we've seen from Seth Lugo in a stretch. It's probably terrible timing for that to take place. And he's the biggest reason as to 2 of the losses of this 3-3 start in this 9 games that we talked about how crucial they were. 2 of the losses are on Seth Lugo. The Twins, giving up the 7 runs, and then on Wednesday, giving up the 7 runs, 6 earned. That's Lugo. We can debate you brought in a closer in a non-save situation. I mean, analytics should tell you that this is not something that usually works out. Or, man, they struggled again on Wednesday with runners in scoring position. Cool, they scored 7 runs. I mean, they did what you needed them to do. To score 7 runs, you got to win with this Royals team scoring 7 runs. So, is there a concern level for Seth Lugo? Is this just a 4-game slump that a guy who's been around the block as much as he has and with as many pitches as he has, he'll get back in the lab and figure it out, and he may be back to being Seth Lugo the next start? How are we feeling right now, 4 starts into his new contract, the 18 innings and 18 earned runs?
I'm concerned. I am probably at a 6. The underlying numbers have gone from a guy who he's always exceeded the underlying numbers,
right.
but nothing that was asinine. It wasn't the 1 year of Brad Keller, and then we saw the other shoe fall. This year, my goodness, expected ERA is now down to a 5.12. Expected batting average against is 269. His fastball velocity is down nearly an entire mile per hour. His walk rate is skyrocketed is a strong word, but 3% higher than last year. So he's getting hit harder.
Yeah.
He's walking more guys, and his fastball velo is down, I don't want to say dramatically, but a mile per hour, 0.8 miles per hour is still noticeable difference.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I don't make that deal and I don't sign Seth Lugo. I still think it's the right move. I still think he can figure it out. I'm not going to say that it's completely done with Lugo, but there are some warning signs that you should at least be like, hey, let's get this car back to the shop. Let's not just keep running it out there until the transmission eventually blows.
Jack, where are you at with Seth Lugo right now?
I feel a 6 or maybe even a 7 is, accurate for these last 2 starts. I mean, he's never done that in a Royals uniform. He might have given up 6 or 7 runs last year at one point, but it was one start.
Yeah.
It was a one-off. And you've seen since the extension, really more so than getting hit hard, he's got poor command. Yeah. And that's something you never, ever saw from him, even in those off starts. And some of those off starts where he'd go 5 innings, give up 4 runs, he was just getting hit hard, because that can happen when you throw 90 to 92 and you don't have the best command of it. But this is walking 3 or 4 guys. It's falling behind 2-0, 3-1. I mean, in that first inning, he falls behind James Wood, leads to a single. He walks C.J. Abrams, got squeezed a little bit, but if you're all over the place, you're not going to get those calls. You then walk the third hitter of the at-bat, or the inning, and then you fall behind Nate Lowe, who got DFA'd yesterday, and he crushes one. So
who gets DFA'd after hitting a grand slam in the first
don't know.
inning? He also has a frying pan over his face with that play later in the game, but still.
He was great last year and great with the Rangers before he came over, but I don't know why Washington feels the need to DFA him, but that's aside from the point. Yeah. Still, with Lugo, we also can acknowledge, and the reality is when you get big money, can't really afford to pitch like this. Mm-hmm. I know it happens in baseball. Guys have bad starts. Last year, even as great as Cole Reagan's was, I can recall that start at Anaheim where he gave up 8 or 9 runs, just got shelled by a bad Angels team. So it happens. But at this stage of the 2025 season, you can't have that from who was your ace prior to these last 4 starts, just not even being competitive deep into the game. That game was over after the first inning in Minnesota. The Royals never really threatened after that. And though the Royals stormed all the way back to tie the game, you put them in a 5-0 deficit and then never really could recover. It's one thing if you give up 5 and then you say, okay, I'm going to wear this, but I'm going to go 5 innings, and I'm only giving up those 5. I would have expected that from Seth Lugo last year and early portion of this year. Man, you get 5 on him, he's going to be fine the rest of the way. He was never competitive the rest of that game. And that's what was so frustrating about that outing is you're down 5-1, you're down 5-2, and still you're going out there first batter of the inning, you're falling behind guys again. And that just can't happen when you're facing some of the guys in the Nationals lineup. I get it. You want to work around James Wood. You want to work around C.J. Abrams. And then after you get the grand slam to Nate Lowe, I get that. You can't be working around the 180 hitters. You can't be working around, I forgot the catcher for that series that was hitting sub 200. He walked him, too. And that just, if you're going to find yourself again, find the rhythm, it's all right to give up the bombs to the guys that are supposed to do that. It's not okay to fall behind to 8-9 hitters when you've been a very efficient pitcher your entire career.
Yeah, usually, Seth Lugo's been the guy that is one of the most reliable. I mean, the most reliable since the All-Star break last year has been Waka. Like, it's the most reliable in terms of I know what you're going to get every night out. Like, you're going to get a quality start. I mean, since the All-Star break last year, the guy's been, 6 innings, 3 or fewer. 7 innings, 2, 6. Really not 7 innings, but you get the point. Because sixth inning, if anybody gets on, you get pulled immediately. We know that's the rule with today's Royals. But neither here nor there. But Lugo's been a guy that, has been able to fix things quickly. But I went back and looked, and just to see when you said, there's got to be games where he gave up, 6 or 7 earned runs. There were 2 games last year in which he gave up, 6 earned runs or more. 6 innings, 6 earned runs, and then had a 4-inning, 7 earned runs against Minnesota in August. But what was interesting to me, and as I go through these games, the difference between this stretch and what we're seeing now is the stretch I'm about to give you has a couple of okay, that's Seth Lugo. But overall, so here's what he did last start of July through the last start in August. So a month's worth of baseball. 6 innings, 6 earned runs. 8 innings, 1 earned run. 5 innings, 6 runs. 4 innings, 8 runs. 7 innings, 2 runs. 5 innings, 6 runs. Then he went back to Lugo, 7 innings, 1, 7 innings, 1, 7 innings, 0, 7 innings, 2. I mean, so he then got back into Seth Lugo when September got there and then on into, the postseason. So I'm fine with it being, when I, am thinking about it, I'm like, my first thought is a 6 or a 7 because of what we've seen. It's like, have we seen him do this? I'm more in line of a little more concerned this go around because he hasn't mixed in an 8-inning, 1 earned run in the middle. Like, he had that stretch, but then it was like, okay, 8 innings, 1 earned run, no walks, 4 hits. All right. Against Detroit, by the way. Against Detroit in August. Now, that was Detroit early August. That was
before the tear.
That was before they started. That was in fact August 1st. It was right after the trade deadline. So we probably went like, Lugo, awesome, bounced back from his 6 runs that he gave up in 6 innings. It's Detroit, though. Let's take it with a grain of salt. Let's see what he does against Boston. Oh, no, 5 runs, 6 earned, or 5 innings, 6 runs. Yeah, but let's see what he does against Minnesota. Oh, God, 4 innings, 8 runs. 7 innings, 2. Yeah, but it's the Angels. Let's see what he does against the Phillies. Oh, God, 5 innings, 6 runs. And then he got back into being Lugo against Houston and Cleveland and the Yankees and the Giants, etc. So the fact that it happened last year to a stretch eases the concern a little bit, but he also mixed in a couple of, there's Lugo. There's the guy that we have seen this year as to what kept him on the trajectory of a Cy Young candidate last year and finishing second in the Cy Young voting. Maybe it's a slump. I give him a couple more starts because we saw pretty much all of August that took place. But again, there was a couple more mixed in. That was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 start stretch. But again, 2 of those starts were pretty good. So this is a 4-start stretch where they just haven't been good at all. I'm hoping this is Sweeney, Bove, Lugo, get in the lab. Look, boom, right there. This is what you're doing. See this? Arm angle. Right there. You are, we barely pick it up, but that is a 1/4 of an inch, a little bit lower slot on your, change. Oh, man. You see, you're releasing it a little bit early on that fastball. Like it looks like maybe your extension. These are what the analytics can give us too. Of here's what it was, last year and early this year of where you were releasing the ball and the extension you had, and here's what it's been the last 4 starts. So now let's get back in the lab and work. Maybe it's something as easy as simple as that. I would hope that they would have been fixed by now if it was something as easy as that. The bigger concern that I would have is this a precursor to there's something going on underneath with a shoulder or an elbow or something like that. That's obviously anytime we talk about a pitcher that just loses it and looks like this for 4 starts. His velocity has been roughly, I know it's been down overall this year, but the other pitches have been right in line with really what his velocity has been this year over these 4 starts. So it's not like, right before you tear your UCL, all of a sudden your miles per hour go up like, 2 or 3. It's like, wow, this guy's now hitting 97 and he used to work 94. Well, yeah, that UCL is a little more stretched out and it's about to pop. So give it a little more torque and there it goes. So it's not like that from Seth Lugo. But there has to be that worry that if you sign this deal and something starts to go, or if something was underlying there to begin with, and that's the real like the high level. All right, there's a concern here if it were to be something like this, because if that's the case, then there's got to be somebody that's in the Royals organization that probably loses their job. You sign this guy to an extension and his arm blows out 4 starts later, 5 starts later. I mean, nobody in the medical staff was taking a look to make sure that Lugo was still on the same path. Well, JJ's like, hey, we're talking about an extension. We're good with his arm, right? His arm's okay. And I'm not saying JJ fired. I'm saying that before you give somebody the $23 million per year for a few years, maybe check it out and make sure that everything's good to go on a guy who's in his mid-30s and through the most innings he had last year.
I mean, I'm sure they did, but I mean, you could use that. And I know football is the obvious one, and it's obviously a little different. But Ronnie Stanley, for example, I mean, I don't think anyone really injuries happen in sports, especially baseball, and you're a pitcher. I mean,
no, I think Harbaugh should be fired for Ronnie Stanley.
Max Scherzer, right? Didn't he sign it and then blow out? Steven Strasburg was the big one.
Again, Harbaugh should be fired for Stanley's extension. I totally agree. Totally agree. I can't go back to college, though, now with that 10-year show cause.
They do know more than us when it comes to the medical stuff, obviously. But I don't know if there were a ton of signs, at least, from what we had seen.
Again, he was fine up until signing the contract.
Up until signing the contract. And then he turned it into Jordan Lyles. I don't know what happened.
Where is Jordan Lyles? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. That's the major. If there was a major concern, it's like, okay, is there something underlying going on as to why he's doing this? Which is why I think the next couple of starts are going to be pretty crucial to see, is this a small mechanical issue that you can just go and fix, and he turns back into the Greg Maddox Professor Light that we see from Seth Lugo.
I almost wonder, too, if it's not really injury-related, though it can be put in the same categories. It's just, dead arm. It's just fatigue. Yeah. I thought it's what it was last year, and he threw 206 innings. And prior to that in San Diego, he had thrown, I want to say 140, maybe 141 innings, and then you jump that by 146. So
and then he
a
threw
60-inning
more.
jump. Yeah.
60 more.
That's going to naturally just pop up at some point. It's why we've seen in years where the Royals are not competing for the playoffs. You had Brady Singer do this. You had Brad Keller do this. You had Chris Bubic do this. You shut him down in September. Like with Noah Cameron, he's throwing the night, and he should eclipse 100 innings. If he goes, I want to say it's like 6 or 7 innings, he'll get to 100. It will not surprise me in September if the Royals are out of it. They fall 6 games back, and there's 20 to go. I'd say, you're done. We'll call up Stephen Kolek. We'll call up somebody to make those starts. But you just don't want to run into a scenario where these guys then end their season poorly because they're fatigued. Now, the big question becomes, if this is the same thing that happened last year, it's a fatigue period, and let's say next time out against the Rangers, he's vintage Seth Lugo, stuff's moving great, his 2-seam sinker starts at left-handed hitters, goes back over the inside corner of the plate instead of down the middle and then way out to the right-handed batter's box. That's where I would say, okay, he hits a fatigue point between July in August. It happens every single year. But then he's really good March, April, May, June, first part of July, and then in September. Maybe next year.
I was going to say that's a good, nice transition.
That's where you say, okay, maybe in March and April, he's threw 5 shutout innings on 65 pitches. You're done for the day. We just need to make sure that this fatigue portion, when the season really turns up, you still can go give us 5 shutout. I feel that's how they've handled Michael Wacha, truthfully.
Yeah.
Wacha goes out there, and he's laboring a little bit in the 6th, and it's like 75 pitches. No, you're done. We're going to go to the bullpen here. Where Lugo, he has been that guy they've counted on where, 7th inning, 8th inning, you're at 95 pitches. Go throw 10 pitches and you're done. And that's maybe where you have to handle him differently as a mid-30s guy. And I know people will push back and say, well, come on, you just gave him $22 million a year. He should be able to work longer than 5 innings. Well, I'd rather have 5 efficient innings than he hits this portion where he can take you out of the game by the 3rd inning.
And I know it hasn't been the best season, and if they miss the playoffs, a lot of people would view it maybe as a failure. I wouldn't view it as a failure. It'd be disappointing. This Royals team not making the playoffs, I don't think would be a failure. I thought they were the best team talent-wise in the Central. I also thought Massey would continue his mid-700s OPS, playing a really good second base, and India would be back to a 350 on-base percentage. Like, there were things that I was hoping that the health of the pitching would sustain, but that's really wishful thinking.
And we talked about a lot of that, about the wishful thinking of the pitching staff's health.
So maybe a positive that can come from this is, in a season where you don't make the playoffs anyway, you're seeing Lugo go through this stretch so that next year, if you're in the same spot, maybe you plan ahead, or maybe you get to July and Q and JJ and Sweeney and Bove and Seth Lugo sit down and go, every other start we're going to skip a couple days. Now, Lugo will push back because he is a regular rest stickler for his routine. And Q's talked about that.
Or a couple of short outings.
Could be, like I said, you can plan ahead a couple of short outings, and maybe even in July you go, we're going to have some short outings for you, although he's doing that himself. So he's taking care of that
Good
for
call.
them. I don't feel well. Let me only go 4 innings here. I got this.
That first
Skip.
inning's not really going 1 inning today, Seth. Okay, 5 runs.
We need you as an opener, Seth. I got this, Skip. I'll handle it for you. Or maybe you just say, hey, it's July into early August. This has been the last 2 years. We're going to plan ahead. Seth, I know you're a regular rest guy, but every other start, we're going to move you back a couple of days and maybe skip you through the rotation just to give your arm a little bit more rest.
Or maybe instead of him being an opener, he gets an opener in July and August.
Yeah, that could be opener an inning or two, and now you bring out Lugo, and he can go 4 or 5 innings, and now you've gotten to the 7th with essentially Lugo, or you hope that's the case. And then you are less likely to go, boy, it's the 6th, and Lugo's at 85, or let's try to get one more. Could be, all right, he's 85, and he just got through 6, and now you're into the 7th, and okay, yeah, let's go to insert name here, hopefully, then Urseg and maybe Estevez, or maybe insert name here, Urseg next year. Like, we'll find out. But I think if this is just a slump or a dead arm, it sucks that it's hurting a season in which you want to go and make the playoffs, but it also could be a learning and a spot to where you can now plan ahead in a season that you're hoping is even better than this year, and you're in contention and maybe leading the division, and you're entering in the mid-July and you go, we know how to plan for Lugo. We're going to maximize him over the next month, over his next 5 or 6 starts.
And maybe you have to, fix this team up a little bit to tailor to that. If you've been relying on your starting pitching to become the strength of this team the last 2 to 3 years, and if you've had injuries pile up this year, which has been the case, and you can now prepare maybe a little bit better for it next year, maybe this is an off season where you go up and really try to add to this bullpen and make sure that they're locked down 7th, 8th, and 9th. You already have it with Ursig and Estevez that will be back next year. Steven Cruz will be as well. But if you got an abundance of arms to use, now you don't feel as bad about pulling some of these guys in the 6th inning or maybe even in the 5th inning.
Well, maybe it's Avila. Maybe it's Lewinder Avila. I liked what I saw from him.
He was electric.
I'd like to see him come out
Sadly,
tonight.
he'll be down on Saturday.
I know.
That was so.
They're going to put him down. I thought he pitched well.
Sad guy.
I thought
only
he was
23. He's a young pup.
Good night.
Dude, he looked electric
But 23
out there.
years of a dog, that's really old for dog
is
years.
old.
23, yes. No, I hope they throw him again tonight. Just see what you have. Hopefully they're in a position where it's like, oh, let's put him out there. We're good. See what you have in this guy, another one, before you ultimately send him down tomorrow for Michael Lorenzen. When you
I don't
make the
care if it's a
first
lefty. Him over Sam Long. I don't care.
I'm with you. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. I want to talk about The Kingdom, the documentary. Watched the first 2 episodes last night with the wife, and checking out what those episodes were. Got some thoughts on that. Looking forward to watching the next 4 episodes as well, because I thought these were really entertaining. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, so one thing that's definitely changed in my life over the last almost 2 years now. January will be 2 years. So that's, I don't know, roughly a year and a half for me since I've been on testosterone replacement therapy with Heartland Men's Health. It's the energy level that I have. Before I started this, we'd have basketball practice or baseball practice at night, and it's like, oh, man, you're really trying to ramp up. Let me reload the caffeine. Let me get an energy drink for some reason, because that's what I'm going to need to get through this particular practice. Or let's go out and shoot around, and you know what? I kind of like to, you go shoot around, I'm going to take a nap, because the energy level was just missing for me. And I'd have brain fog, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just tired, right? Oh, it's a long day. But, felt like a longer show, things like that. Anything that you can tell yourself, as opposed to, well, you know what? Maybe your testosterone level is lower than what you thought and guessed it would be. And, oh, my God, what the hell are you doing? Sort of level. I think that's actually what they said when they came in. They said, oh, my God, what are you doing? Not much, apparently. Heartland Men's Health, they have been great to work with. Go to heartlandmenshealth.com. Take the low T quiz on the website if you're curious, like I was, to see what the testosterone level was for me. I waited a decade for some reason, you dummy. So finally, scheduled a consult with Heartland Men's Health. They did the lab work, had the results, 30 minutes, knew exactly what the level was. Licensed medical provider, review your results with you, discuss your options, help you make the decision together with the medical team, and they want to make sure that you are a candidate for testosterone replacement therapy before you start. Just because you go and find out that your testosterone level is low, it doesn't mean that Heartland Men's Health is going to go, all right, cool, let's get you going. No, there are some men that it's like, look, we'd love to go this route, but we can't because of this and this. Here are some other options we may have with that. That's why I love working with Heartland Men's Health. Cost of the appointment is only $99. That includes medical consult fee and that PSA test. And if you sign up for testosterone treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Higher energy levels, maybe better gains in the gym, maybe that motivation to get back to go to the gym, sleeping better, waking up feeling more refreshed, more productive at work, the brain fog, something that I have talked about. Heartland Men's Health, successfully treating men in the Kansas City area, 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today, 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. That's 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com. right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Jack Johnson. We'll talk with Matt Derrick coming up at 11 o'clock. Certainly a lot of stuff to talk about with him as far as it relates to Rashee Rice, what he's watching tonight, what he took away from preseason game number 1 last Saturday, some other things that maybe if he has a surprise cut, like a name that might be a surprise cut for him. So we'll talk about that with Matt
And then
Derrick.
cuts at in the 1. A surprise cut. Is there going to be a surprise cut?
Oh, I've got some new cuts from this week. There's, I don't know that they should be a surprise.
They might all be a surprise for me.
No, they shouldn't.
Because half the time I say things, I don't notice it. All of a sudden, I just see Jason and Drake just like, okay. And I'm like, what did I say?
It doesn't matter. You'll hear it on Friday. Come on. I watched only the first 2 episodes last night because they started at 8 o'clock. So, it was over at 10. Okay, the first 2 episodes. If you don't have ESPN Plus, they're showing 2 episodes for 3 weeks. So 1 and 2 was last night, 3 and 4 next week, 5 and 6 the week after that. ESPN Plus, you can stream them all starting at 8 o'clock, which is interesting because we're watching the second one, right? And so we're watching the I didn't have to worry about the commercials in the first one because we had to pause it before it started to do bedtime and everything. And so that little man's ready for bed when the first episode's over because he wanted to watch the first episode. So by the time we started it, we fast-forwarded through the commercials. No big deal. So then little man goes to bed, and we just keep it on ESPN for the second one. And there's a commercial, and it's like, all right, waiting for the commercial to get over. And then the second commercial break starts. I'm like, what am I doing? Just put it on ESPN Plus and watch the episode with no commercials, you jackass.
So here was the issue that I ran into yesterday, last night.
Or Tuesday, whichever day it was for you.
The Kingdom, we were trying to watch.
All right.
I don't know why I said it as if this is a riddle, but this is the
the Kingdom we were trying to watch, but time
was on our side, was not. No. So it was a riddle to me, actually, because YouTube TV, I'm trying to watch it on there. We could only watch episode 2. Episode 1.
What time did you start it, at 8 or 9?
I don't remember.
Well, if you started it at 9.
Probably 9.
So episode
but
1.
But why could I have watched episode 2 and then recorded all the upcoming ones? I, for some reason, couldn't record the first one.
Oh.
And
so did you go to ESPN Plus?
I did not. I'm not.
Okay.
We have it, but I'm not that technologically savvy. I didn't think about it at the time.
Yeah.
I could have just pulled up.
I didn't even think about it, and we were watching the commercials, so I'm not going to judge you for that.
So I was very frustrated because I was wanting to watch, and I couldn't at the time. So now we had to record it for the next time it comes on. So episode 1, it's going to be like an entourage for me, where I'm just going to watch all the way through and then go back to episode 1.
There was nothing in episode 1 that you would like, oh my God, I can't believe that this happened. I totally forgot that the Chiefs, beat the Ravens on the opening night of the season last year by a toe. I wish I'd have known that before episode 2. Like, everything.
So then I proceeded to, my wife and I watch Hard Knocks instead. So we did that, and because I was so frustrated and I was yelling at the television that I go, I know how to work HBO. So I put Hard Knocks on instead.
God, that's got to suck, though, right? I have not watched an episode of Hard Knocks this year. I've heard it's not it hadn't been entertaining.
I disagree.
Really? You've liked it so far?
Yeah, I thought it's been
I haven't watched it, so I don't know. I've just heard that it wasn't entertaining.
If you're a Bills hater, then yeah. But
well, that's the thing. Is like last night. I don't know. Jack, did you watch any of the episodes last night?
I actually didn't, but I did catch some clips, so I'm sure some of the stuff
you read the
talking
clip notes.
about. I did. It's Spark Notes. Yep.
Let's take the test here. You're good. You're good. You
I
can
should
tell
be
us,
good.
Tell us
if
everything.
It's English. Yeah, if it's English.
Grapes of Wrath. I watched the movie. It's the same. It's fine.
Same
it's
thing.
all
Mice
good.
and men. Yep.
Yes. I mean, there was a grape. It was spoiled. They ate it. They got the wrath, and so that's what happens.
Multiple choice. I should be good.
Yes, it's abacadabra. Nailed it. Got it right. What are the odds? But it's interesting that Hard Knocks. Every year, I used to be so pumped for Hard Knocks because it gave you that behind the scenes, and then we got quarterback and receiver and quarterback 2, and we get these different documentaries, and we get the in-season ones.
Yeah.
And we get is it my streaming services I get mixed up? Is it Netflix or Amazon Prime that's doing the SEC series that I've been watching?
Netflix.
I think it's Netflix.
Netflix. That Soren was absolutely right about this. The episode that they had about Alabama losing to Vandy was only told through the lens of Alabama. Like, Actually, that'd have been a pretty cool episode through the lens of Vandy. But so whatever the streaming service is for that, like there's so much insider stuff that we never got before that there isn't that, oh my God, I can't wait for Hard Knocks to drop, because we get this glimpse of behind the scenes stuff that we never got before. And it's the only time we get it that year. So there is less of a, I can't wait to watch this with Hard Knocks. So I haven't got around to watching those two. I think this is one to where I'm not sure what the ratings will be for this outside of Chiefs and Swifties. Because if I was a Bengals fan or a Bills fan, I'm not watching that. There's no way I'm watching this glorified documentary about the Chiefs going for a three-peat. We get even more Chiefs shoved down our throat by ESPN. Bleep that. No, thank you. The first episode was cool, of the history of the Chiefs and Lamar Hunt and Dallas and the fight there with the Cowboys and the Texans, and him not able to sell the tickets there in Dallas, and the fans weren't showing up. And so instead of folding, and the NFL's plan was to put specifically him out of business, because how do you end the AFL? You end the guy whose idea the AFL was that everybody was rallying around. So you put him out of business and the AFL goes away. So we're focusing on Lamar to do everything to knock him out. And Kansas City calls and says, what do you think about being the Midwest team? Not just Dallas, fighting with that. You can fight with the Cowboys in Dallas, or you can be the Midwest football team. And he's like, you know what? I like that idea. Let's do that. So that was cool. And to see the caves, right? Like I've been in the caves a few times in my life. If you've never been down in the caves, they are a trip. So they've got the history of, like, Bob Moore there is the Chiefs historian. They've got one of the rooms in the caves or whatever is where all of the Chiefs, like, memorabilia and history is locked up. And so they laid it all out on a table, and Mahomes, Chris Jones, Kelsey, and Andy Reid, who are going to be the main characters of the documentary, were there and going through the history of it, including Lamar Hunt on the American Airlines flight with the NFL telling him, we're not going to grant you expansion, it's dumb. And for the American Airlines flight, for him to chart out the AFL on the flight back to go, why am I fighting this? Why wouldn't I just do my own league? And then just starts writing it out. So that exact piece of paper that Lamar Hunt saved is there as well. That was pretty cool to see some of those things. But if I wasn't a fan of the Chiefs, I don't know that I would watch it. It is catnip for the kingdom, for sure. It is absolutely great stuff watching it. And I think it's cool because, like, for me, my wife watching it with me, like, there's an added element of, she doesn't really watch the games with the playoff games she'll watch, but like regular season, not as big of a football fan, big basketball family. She'll go to baseball games, but football, not really her thing. Wasn't really the thing in the family. They just, UK basketball. It's their life. You know that. Southern Indiana. It's basketball.
They don't give a hoot about football down there.
And nor do they holler. They
live in the holler.
Yeah, they give more hoots and hollers about it recently, but she certainly doesn't. But watching that, I thought it was funny that they're going through the injuries. Episode 2. Was episode 2 the ones with all the injuries with Hollywood and Rashee Rice in them, or was that, did you see all of those things?
No.
Okay, so that was episode 1. So episode 2 was mainly just all Andy Reid and Kareem Hunt. But episode 1, they're going through the injuries and Hollywood Brown's injury, right? And then it shows Isaiah Pacheco against the Bengals breaking his leg. And then it shows Rashee Rice in week 4. And all of these different injuries. And it's showing, like, the conversations around him. Brett Veach in the room talking with all of the main people, Clark and Andy in the front office and Donovan, about, okay, so Rashee Rice is in surgery right now or getting out of surgery right now. They think the ACL is intact, but with the other injuries there, it's going to be a 6-month injury, so he's done for the season, which is interesting because after surgery, didn't we have like a 4-week thing where, like, it isn't as bad as they thought, and maybe but right after surgery or during surgery, Brett Veach is like, yeah, he's done for the year. he's out for the year, guys. We got to figure out what to do. But it's funny because she goes, well, now I know each game when you said, the season's over. When you kept going, so this is one where you said the season's over? So, yeah, probably. So this one said, I think Rashee Rice is the main one when it looked like he tore his ACL. That's probably when I came up and I'm like, yeah, they beat the Chargers, but it doesn't matter. The season's over. Rashee Rice is a big part of their offense, and now he's out, and Pacheco's out, and they don't have Hollywood Brown. Season's over.
This is a hill that I will get semi-wounded on. And don't want to die on a hill because that's dumb.
Yeah,
You
why
were
would you
badly
die on-
beaten.
Yeah, I'll take like a razor scooter to the shin whilst stepping on Legos on the said hill.
Yeah.
I wish this would come out 10 years from now. I don't like that I remember all these things. The history part is cool.
Yeah.
That's different. But like, I remember all this
But
stuff.
see, to me,
I just watched all this stuff.
But the emotions are still fresh, though. I can remember, like, at the moment when it happened, like, oh my God. And then Patrick Mahomes saying, I didn't realize until the game was over.
My thing is
that it was me, that I was the one that did that. I didn't realize that it was me the whole time.
the whole Jordan one, for example, if that would have
Yeah.
came out the year
I get
after, that who cares? We remember all that. But the
Yeah.
fact that it came out 20 years after was awesome.
I mean, they are. The documentary is around the three-peat.
No, I get that, but
So it's like,
even that would be cool to
Yeah.
show. In my opinion, again, that's my opinion. I don't have the same thrill to watch this because I remember all this
Yeah.
stuff. It was so recent. It
I
is
just
what
have
it
the-
is.
I have
If
the
this was
thrill for the behind-the-scenes stuff. You know what I
cool.
mean? Like
10 years from now, 15 years from now, I would be all over this.
the
I
way-
would be all in.
I love that dismiss from Sterling. I like the behind-the-scenes stuff. Cool. 10 years from
Yeah,
by the way, chef's kiss. Well done. That was nice.
You know,
I appreciate the dismissive tone right there. I absolutely do. I'm not even joking. That was great.
It's one of those things too where we've seen with 30 for 30s like the U and Catholics versus convicts. If it's for a different generation as well, like those that lived through it, but also people like my age that went, I didn't get to see that, so now I have no idea what this is all about. Where for the
point.
NFL, everybody knows what's happening with this, so I can see your side of it. Me personally, I kind of always compare things, especially football documentaries, to Last Chance U. I was big into Last Chance U, and I got hooked from season 1. You had East Mississippi, and they were this powerhouse, and it's all these guys you knew from Alabama and Florida and Georgia. They're coming here because they got kicked off the team or academically ineligible. But I will always say this, not because it's the Kansas tie of independence, but my favorite season was when they were terrible. And it was an abject disaster. There were fights going on. They were losing games. And it was always fascinating, though, when they would lose those games, what it was going to be like in the locker room afterwards. Where with the Chiefs, and I believe the Patriots had a documentary as well, for a lot of the outside...
Spygate, Deflategate,
someone like that.
serial killer murderer gate.
Something along the lines of that.
allegedly.
But I'd imagine for a lot of NFL fans, and the same thing goes for Hard Knocks, like you kind of want to watch the train wrecks, not the model of everything.
point.
Of if I'm a Panthers fan, I'm going, well, this isn't going to be entertaining. The worst thing that happens to them is that they lose in the Super Bowl. Like, if you had a documentary on the 2016 Browns went 0-16, like following them the entire year of what went on, the lack of motivation, showing up every day, that would hook a lot of people. Where you take away the hatred from outside of Kansas City on the Chiefs, I feel a lot of people would be turned away by this because they're going, if they're going to spin it as, man, we really had to pull ourselves up, from the trenches, they'll say, man, I would kill to lose by 20 or 25 in the Super Bowl with some of those bad teams.
Buffalo wouldn't. But that's
Okay,
it's a really good point because maybe 10, 15 years from now, you would have a wider audience of NFL fans in general that don't have as much of the specific, recent, still vitriol, hate, and salt for the Chiefs that I ain't watching that because there were plenty of people that if the Jordan, like to your point, Sterling, if the Jordan documentary came out in 2001, I'm like, yeah, I'm not watching.
I think Knicks
this.
fans, Pacers fans.
I just watched this, but the nostalgia of that coming out in 2020, Knicks fans, Pacers fans, Magic, they're all watching it, and Jazz fans going, oh, I remember that. Oh, God, I remember that game. Son of a, if he'd have knocked that shot down, oh, my God, that stupid foul. Like, you have those memories that come back that aren't as fresh. So that point, I think, is an interesting one because I think a wider audience would watch 10 years from now rather than, 5 months removed from the Super Bowl.
They had the Tuck Rule documentary where Brady's watching the game with Charles Woodson at the time, and they're laughing about it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the next year, as a Raiders fan, you have to sit there and watch them joke about the Tuck Rule?
Yeah.
Like, no, you were crushed by
Because
it.
there's no way
Woodson-
Charles Woodson would have been joking about
No
it.
chance he's laughing.
100%. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. Drake is not laughing. We'll wrap up this hour. Matt Derrick coming up at the 11 o'clock hour. More Zone next. checked it out. What are
3
you
or
doing?
4 will probably be the mic for Matt, though. I don't know which one.
4
We'll see which one gets
is the one for Mike.
potted up.
4 is the one for Mike. For Matt.
Mike
4,
Derrick.
1 is the Mike. 41. 4 is the one. Anyway, we were talking about the couple of episodes of The Kingdom that I was able to watch. Did not watch all 6. I know a number of people were able to watch all 6 of those. So yeah.
By the way,
This for you before we goes back to you starting on episode 2. Tech says ESPN is owned by Disney, who owns Star Wars, so starting on episode 2 makes sense. I love that's a well done texter.
I am not a Star Wars guy. Not for me.
You a Trekkie?
Neither. I don't.
Okay.
Those
You don't like the
are not
sci-fi?
for me. Sci-fi books, like I can get into some Jules Verne and some H.G. Wells all day, but shows and
God,
movies.
you are an old man.
Yeah.
What?
See, I told you.
What do you mean?
You're a child, and you're an old man stuck in a child's decision-making body.
H.G. Wells is phenomenal. Jules Verne is outstanding. What do you
I
mean?
don't disagree with you. It's just, wow.
You know, you're 22 years old, and you've got
I-
these thoughts.
31. Okay,
Yes.
31.
It's 31 is the new 22. That's what everybody's been saying.
No, but this is. I maybe am more excited for this year for Chiefs football than even last year, which might sound blasphemous, as the Chiefs were trying to make history with the three-peat. But something about coming off of a loss, the team you root for coming off of a loss, almost revitalizes you. The anger is now inside me. It lives. It breathes.
Is that right?
We had it too good.
Yeah.
The silver spoon was getting too silver.
You're no longer satisfied. You're no longer fat and full.
The silver spoon needed to be washed, and the help left.
Yeah.
So now we have to wash it.
Right. You are back to being hungry, humble. Besides the humble part for you, you just look like you're ready to eat.
Yeah,
some
like
food.
the creme brulee was ripped off of our plate.
It is interesting though that for 50 years, a lifetime, Chiefs fans had woken up at the end of the season off of a loss.
Yes.
The next year was getting ready for a year in which you lost the last game, or if you didn't make the playoffs, you may have won the last game, but what does it matter? That then it's like, okay, they won the Super Bowl again. All right, they won the Super Bowl again. Like, there's always something to play for. You win the Super Bowl back-to-back. You win back-to-back, can you be 3?
Yeah.
And this year, like, I get it. There's more of the dynasty being on the line, it feels like, from a conversation of people that, okay, if you don't make the AFC Championship game this year, well, now the dynasty's over because
Yes.
everybody wants to be the one that calls that, like we did with the Patriots.
It's trying to prove a point now. I want to watch the Chiefs go out and prove the point of we're still here, we're still the big dogs.
Yeah.
We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And so for that reason alone, I am amped up for this season.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I'm amped up for Matt Derrick coming up next. All right, a Friday edition of The Zone. Chiefs in action tonight. Central Bank pregame show right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB coming your way at 6 o'clock. Let's talk with Matt Derrick. Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. And Matt, what say we talk some Chiefs for this hour? You good with that?
Why? I mean,
what's the point, huh?
nothing going on.
Why would we do that?
When's the next game? What day of the week it is?
I did do something in honor of you this morning.
That could be a lot of different things.
I know.
Guess first. I want to see what you think I did.
I mean,
in honor of you this morning.
I mean, if you're doing something in the morning, and
talk to Nick Jacobs.
That'd be a good thing. But Nick and I don't usually talk in mornings.
Okay.
I mean,
It doesn't only have to be a morning activity. Just, but it was more of like
if you're doing the most morning activity possible.
I slept in honor of you. Yeah, no.
I was going to say you had Pop-Tarts and Dr. Pepper for breakfast.
Wow, that is a balanced breakfast.
It is. It is.
Yeah, hitting both food groups.
You use the restroom shoulder to shoulder with another gentleman. That's just because it's a bond that
we
share.
You guys did.
That
you guys did share that bond.
Yeah, at Blue Hills. No, I listened to Poison on my way to work this morning.
Nice.
I should have known.
Power
little
ballads?
hair metal.
Ballad.
Yeah, Fallen Angel.
Fallen Angel's underrated.
Yeah. Daddy's Fallen Angel and
Very underrated.
Unskinny Bop, which is probably my favorite Poison song.
Nothing
blow
wrong.
you away?
I'm good. I'm
Nothing
good
but a
with
good
Unskinny Bop.
time.
Yeah.
I actually stayed in the parking lot so I could finish all three because it only takes me like 6 minutes to get to work. But I wanted to really listen and jam out to Poison.
So when you left at 9:50 this morning, so you got here and then hung out in the parking lot for a
Hey,
little
pal, I was here. I was talking to sales. I do my rounds up here. What I do is I walk through.
bit? Hey, everybody, how you doing? Hey, friend.
Yeah, I go back to
Getting ready do a
sales. I
show.
talk with Overton. Gilbert Paul was out today. Talked to Ted and Steph for a little bit back there. I like saying hi to everyone.
I'm now
Talk to Paige
picturing-
back there.
I'm not picturing Sterling being like a little Gary Cole in Office Space, just going through the office and everything.
Yeah, but I'm not going. Yeah, we're gonna need those TPS reports. No, I'm not doing that. But I'm like that.
I wish you would.
Enjoyable.
I want to see how that goes over back in sales with. Yeah, Ted, we're going to need you to put a cover letter on those.
You got the
TPS
email, right?
reports.
You're a man of the people,
email.
so you're going around.
I'm
and
a
you're
man
like,
of the
hey, there's
people.
Paige, she's taking care
And
of
I'm
business.
talking to Ted. I'm sending some. We got
There's
blind
Shane.
box
Shane
coming
knows-
in.
he
We're getting
knows the
some.
score.
We're getting some barbecue
BBQ
someday. So do you want
Someday.
food?
I like food.
Next week, do you want barbecue?
I plan on eating.
Do you
next
want blind
week.
box barbecue
next week
for
I do,
lunch?
I do plan on eating next week at some
You're
point.
welcome. That's
Okay.
what I'm doing.
Great. Fantastic. I appreciate that. The NFL is doing. We find the next step in Rashee Rice here, and it will be September the 30th, the year of our Lord 2025, when they have this hearing, if they get to that point of having the hearing. Matt, I'll just start off with your reaction and takeaway from September 30th, the hearing, disciplinary hearing for Rashee Rice as it is scheduled right now.
I mean, if you're a Chiefs fan, I think you have to be a little worried in some ways. And in some ways, you're a little comfortable with this. I mean, there's two aspects of it. And the one thing to always remember is that, of course, in the NFL, the disciplinary process makes no sense whatsoever, and Roger Goodell has the final say at all times. Because remember, I mean, this is in theory could only be the second case that's gone to the disciplinary officer, Sue Robinson, since the new CBA created this. Because violations of the personal conduct policy are different than any other suspension or policy that the NFL has. This is one where it's supposed to go to a disciplinary officer to determine the guilt, for lack of a better word, because it's kind of the way the NFL, uses it. Finding a fact, I think, is probably the technical definition of it, but is to determine whether or not the violations of the conduct policy took place, and that is not appealable. If Sue Robinson decides that yes, Rashee Rice, committed violation of the conduct policy, can't be challenged. I mean, her ruling there is final say. Her determination of how many games is not final say, because that can still be appealed by either side.
Unless there's a 0 game and 0 fine and no suspension and no disciplinary action whatsoever, The NFL cannot appeal.
Well,
if
and
that
that's if
happens.
the finding of fact is that the person did not
Yeah.
not violate. That cannot be appealed.
Right.
No, if the Sue Robinson determines that the person did not violate the conduct policy,
Yep.
then there is no appeal. You can
But,
only appeal. Either side can only appeal the penalty itself.
But there will be an opportunity for appeal this go around.
Well, and that's what
with that.
happened with Deshaun Watson, which was that Sue Robinson determined, he violated these 3 principles of the conduct policy, and said, give him a 6-game suspension. And the NFL was like, no, we don't think that's right. We want more like 6, a full season.
The reason we're here is because he wouldn't agree to a full season suspension.
Right.
If he would agree to a full season suspension, there's no reason to be here, Mrs. Robinson.
Yeah.
Here's to you, but 6 games ain't good enough for us, so we're going to appeal.
And then Roger Goodell took the option of appointing a representative to then handle it for him, but leaves the determination of the penalty still up to him, because that he has the final say. So that's how you end up with the 11-game negotiation for Deshaun Watson. So, I mean, some of these cases never reach this phase because the NFL, the NFLPA, the player all agree on a penalty. It's accepted, and they move on. Never goes to the disciplinary officer. So since the new CBA, this is only going to be possibly the second time it's happened. And that's, like I said, that's worrisome, because that tells you that Roger Goodell wants to throw the book at Rashee Rice. There's no other way to look at this. The NFL wants to drop the hammer on Rashee Rice. And you can imagine probably a big part of it is that they want to crack down on street racing. Myles Garrett was just in the news again this week for getting a ticket for, what was he going?
God, was it 160 or something like that?
Something like that. And and what? It's like his 18th ticket or something?
Yeah, and after already rolling his Porsche, being in a situation like that before,
Henry Ruggs had his situation, and let's face it, Rashee Rice was just completely and totally lucky that no one was significantly seriously hurt or killed in that wreck. And the NFL doesn't want it going on anymore. So maybe that's the reason that they're throwing the book at this case. Who knows? But they clearly aren't looking for like a 4 to 6 game suspension, because if that was the case, I think Rashee Rice, the NFLPA, I think they'd be saying, okay, that's fine. We're moving on. Clearly the NFL wants more than that.
Yeah, that's, when you said that you'd have to be a little worried, I completely agree with that. We have been talking for the last 3 weeks that behind the scenes, there's the negotiation that was taking place between Rashee Rice and his representatives, the NFLPA, and the NFL. And whenever the suspension was announced, there would not be an appeal because this was going to be agreed upon. They are talking about it. They're going to negotiate. We had said that a number of times. This is worrisome for the Chiefs because it is obvious that it was not a number of games that Rashee Rice and his representatives were not only comfortable with, but it's not a number of games that they felt like they could maybe get to the middle somehow, that they could negotiate this thing, that it seems like they're pretty decently far apart, that, I threw out a random number. And again, I didn't report it that they were talking, but I was told this negotiation is happening currently. After he pleaded guilty, it was roughly 3-4 days after that is when they started contacting each other about, what they're looking for. And it got to the point to where they are now at an impasse. I don't know the games. So as I said yesterday, I do know they had been negotiating for a while, as I had said on the air for a while. The number of games I do not know. So this is me just throwing it out as an example of the league may say, Rashee, we're going for 10 games. And Rashee Rice's camp is going, whoa, we're thinking 4. No, we're not going to, maybe 10 games. Maybe you can make a case to get it down to 8. And they're saying 4, maybe you could make a case for us to accept 6. But if we're saying 4 and you're saying 10, we aren't close. So, yes, I think there is reason to be worried, and why I think it's absurd for people to go, oh, of course the NFL is, a little kiss to the Chiefs and having this thing delayed the first few weeks of the season. A kiss to the Chiefs would have been, all right, Rashee, 4 games, let's just get it over with. The week 1 starts, the Chiefs know when it is, and it's only 4 games. That would be the kiss to me, because if this was 2 games or 4 games, they'd figure it out. He'd be out 3 games, it'd be done. That's not what we're talking about right now. So I do think there is clear reason for the Chiefs and Rashee Rice's camp and Chiefs fans to be a little more worried about what Roger Goodell and the NFL want to levy as a punishment against Rashee Rice. But I also think Rashee Rice's camp and the NFLPA, although the NFLPA right now is in is in some turmoil right now, so maybe that's why they asked for September 30th, is because we don't even have our ducks in a row right now for who we would even maybe would be the lawyer to go and argue this on Rashee Rice's behalf right now. So maybe we need it to be September 30th. I don't know if anybody, I hadn't really thought about that, but to where this ends up being something that you get in front of Sue Robinson and you can argue what you say is your reason for only 2 or 4 games or whatever, while the NFL is like, yeah, we're looking for 10.
And I went down a deep rabbit hole yesterday after all of this, and I read a legal note that was published analyzing this decision from Sue Robinson and a couple of aspects of it.
The Deshaun Watson one?
Yes.
Okay.
And there was a couple of things, and this is, and I know, hey, I'm sure that neither Rashee Rice's attorneys or the NFLPA attorneys are listening right now, but they should be, because basically the upshot of it was that, the representation on the Deshaun Watson side fumbled big time in that hearing. As much as they really got to a degree what they wanted with the 6-game suspension, they fumbled big time because the NFL personal conduct policy is very vague in a lot of ways. And it's very vague in what, violations of the policy are, what punish. It's completely vague about punishments because outside of the baseline for a sexual assault, there's no other punishment, anything whatsoever in this thing. And, a couple of the decisions hinged on the definitions. Like, one of the definitions was the definition of sexual assault. Well, the NFL offered a definition. NFLPA didn't. So she went with the NFL's definition. And there was even one spot where where neither side offered a definition. And there's a legal doctrine that some of us may learn. I learned this in high school, so I don't know. But remember, if the terms of a contract are vague, then normally that rests in favor of who did not draft the contract. So in theory, it should be in the player side that whenever there's a vague definition, it should favor the player to say, wait a minute, the NFLPA did not write this contract. They did not write the policy. The NFL did. So the person who didn't draft it gets the doubt should go to them. Mm-hmm. Sue Robinson didn't do that. She sided with the NFL in any time that there was a definition issue. So the NFLPA absolutely, when it gets into this, they need to have a better case than they had for Deshaun Watson. And and there's really only 2 aspects of the policy that I think you could even reasonably argue that Rashee Rice violated. One would be the taking part in conduct that could cause harm to others, mm-hmm. and then 2. Can't talk today.
No, you're good. That's actually how it's written specifically.
It was pretty good. But yes, undermining the integrity of the league. Disgracing the shield, as we would say. So those are the only 2 things. So, if the NFLPA can put together a compelling case, I think that would obviously help. But 2, when the Sue Robinson case, she obviously gave a ruling was fairly favorable to Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, that was one of the things that was kind of surprising, Sterling.
So there's 2 things to that. 1, or I guess 3 things. 1, you should be a lawyer. You should go to law school and come back in time for.
At least if I slept at a Holiday Inn last night,
go to lawyer school, man.
I think better. 7 years, or you have about a month. You got about a month. You can do it. I believe in you.
I studied law in high school. It was an accelerated program.
There you go. Nice.
So with the Sue Robinson, when she came down with the 6 games. 1, you could look at it as that's very lax. That should be a positive for Rashee Rice. The other thought process could be, is that going to be a negative because the outcry and the backlash that she received for that was such that is she going to want to do that again? Is she going to err on the side of, well, that clearly was wrong because 11 games is what it ended up being. Will I be more harsh this time around so I don't deal with the backlash?
I think the one thing, usually with like retired federal judges, the great thing about them is that they've run out of F's to give. So I don't think she's probably going to care one way or the other.
So then you think that the fact that she was more lenient the first time around is going to behoove the Rashee Rice situation here?
I think it's that she will probably be more consistent with what NFL practices have been in the past, and based on what the past standards have been, and there really wasn't one that fit Deshaun Watson's situation exactly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I mean, she ended up coming down with a punishment that was similar with the baseline of what the NFL says is the penalty for sexual misconduct and and domestic violence. She kind of went with the baseline. So what's the baseline for Rashee Rice? Well, I mean, I would argue that it's certainly not more than 6 games. I mean, it's probably less than that.
Yeah, I was there. I mean, even the couple that come close to matching what happened with Rashee Rice was a 2-game and a 1-game suspension for reckless driving, causing bodily harm. I don't want to say the player's name wrong, so I'm not even going to say it, but the player who was suspended a game for speeding, reckless driving, causing bodily injury, that person that he caused the injury to was paralyzed. That was a 1-game suspension.
Yeah.
Not saying that was the right call, but if that's the precedent that Sue Robinson is seeing that the NFL themselves said with this particular one, okay, the felonies were not were off of his record. That diversion he agreed to, so no charges there, and you do all of these things, it becomes expunged. Well, Rashee Rice's camp can say, that's what we're doing. We pleaded guilty to 2 felonies, yes, but 5 years from now, if he does everything he's supposed to do, those go away. That's not on his record anymore. So it's the same thing as this, and that guy got 1 game. Now we acknowledge this was rough. This was speeding. This was racing. This was leaving the scene of a crime. This was all of those things. He has admitted to that. So we are not saying it's a 1 game. But we're also not saying 10.
Yeah.
So I do think it's interesting from that standpoint that with everything in front of her, she went with the 6 games while the NFL was saying we want a full year. And she essentially went with Deshaun Watson's camp while, as you're saying, also sort of siding with the NFL on a lot of the different quote-unquote objections, if you want to call it that, overruled, sustained. Those are fun lawyer words. Stipulated.
This whole show is out of order.
Yes, I'm out of order. You're out of order. Is that why we're here? Phone calls and foot lockers. That she sort of sided with the NFL in some of these disputes while siding more with Deshaun Watson's camp of a more lenient suspension of 6 games rather than the full season. It did not make it to Sue Robinson with Justin Tucker because Justin Tucker and the NFL agreed on 10 games.
Right.
And so, Roger Goodell did not, and this is where, I think there's a misunderstanding on some of these things. I saw, one, thing that was written about, Roger Goodell, asking for Roger Goodell giving 11 games to Deshaun Watson and wanting 10 games for Rashee Rice. That's not adding up. Well, no, Roger Goodell did not give him 11 games. Roger Goodell wanted a full year. He wanted a full season. He went with 11 games because Deshaun Watson essentially won the ruling with Sue Robinson of only 6. At that point, you don't really have much of a... Now you know what side of the decision that the person who's in charge feels like that is. Would the Attorney General of New Jersey that Roger Goodell designated to be the over the appeals process and the arbiter there, would he come back and then say, actually, Raj, you're right, it's a full season? From the NFL's perspective, they weren't going to take the chance of him coming back and saying, "That's sorry, Raj. I mean, we're going by precedent. We're not going to go to the Supreme Court with this thing. This is I'm going to side with her. I'll grant you maybe it's a little lenient. We're going to go 8 games." Where Deshaun Watson's going, well, we can't chance that guy just saying Roger Goodell's right because Roger Goodell designated me. So let's negotiate 11 games. Great. You wanted 17. She came up with 6. We'll go 11, as close to the middle as you really can at that point. So Roger Goodell wasn't asking for 11 games for Deshaun Watson. And whatever Rashee Rice ends up with is more than likely not what Roger Goodell was recommending for a suspension for Rashee Rice. So from that standpoint, and also Roger Goodell did not say Justin Tucker gets a 10-game suspension and we move on from that. No, that was negotiated. That wasn't the starting point, I guarantee. That wasn't the starting point for Justin Tucker.
That one's still very weird because he's claiming innocence, yet
Well,
took a 10-game suspension, which
yeah, that's
a wild one.
That's sort of the pleading no contest. I think I'm innocent, but the evidence is against me, and I think I would lose. So let's just accept a lesser punishment of 10 games right now and not drag this whole thing through the mud and go through discovery. So let's just try to move past this as quickly as I can.
And that's once again just to me the whole mind-boggling thing about this, and you know, and Roger Goodell, I would assume, and possibly in the same situation, if Sue Robinson comes back and says, "Hey, wait a minute, you know, similar situations and earlier precedents with this, with the similar cases, the NFL has given 1-game suspensions." Rashee Rice gets 1 game. Well, Roger Goodell's probably not going to say, "Hey, that's cool. Let's roll with that."
Yeah.
He's probably going to.
Yeah.
But once again, I mean, the final determination on punishment rests with Roger Goodell. So, I mean, that's why he at least, you know, gave the sense of transparency, because remember too, I mean, in these cases, it's not technically Roger Goodell versus the player in the NFLPA. It's the NFL Management Council that prosecutes, if you will, for lack of a better term, these cases. And Roger Goodell is in theory just the one who determines the punishment. But even if it goes to the disciplinary officer, Roger Goodell still determines if either side appeals. He's the one that makes they're appealing to. So it just doesn't make much sense. But I mean, you do get this, at least with the disciplinary officer, you at least for the players in the NFLP. I think that's why they certainly benefited in the Deshaun Watson case. The penalty came back with at least a lower end, for which now Roger Goodell can't stick to a full season. He's got to negotiate. I mean, he can't just necessarily say, "I'm throwing that out completely. She's crazy. I'm not going with that. It's going to be a full season," because that's probably going to end up in the courts, and they don't want the personal conduct policy ending up in the courts.
Yeah. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Hanging out with Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. Want to get his thoughts on how this would impact the Chiefs on the field, playing or not playing, and if he thinks it will get to September 30th before maybe an agreed-upon suspension happens. And then, of course, we will talk about what he's looking for tonight. While number 15 will not play, we'll see who else is going to be out there, things that Matt Derrick might be paying close attention to, and maybe try to get if there's a player that fits in the category of a surprise cut from where we were with a 53-man roster before training camp started. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. Matt Derrick, our guest. 41 is the Mike Podcast and Chiefs Digest. So, Matt, let's talk about what this could mean for the Kansas City Chiefs. The first 4 games of the season are what takes place before the hearing will happen. One, I'll just ask if you're guessing right now, does this get to the hearing? Or do they negotiate before and they come to some sort of a middle ground before it gets to a hearing? I don't know. I'll ask that part. And if it does get to a hearing on September 30th, is this good, bad, sort of in the middle for the Chiefs for him to play the first 4 weeks and maybe more, but then an unknown of what the rest of the season could be?
Yeah, there's a odd focus this year, more so than in typical years under Andy Reid, that there seems to be a lot of attention on the divisional games. And I think that obviously part of that is that Andy Reid's got to feel like that this is going to be a closer divisional race than normal. And he wants to win them. I've even before the news came out yesterday, I'd heard that the Chiefs were just really hoping that Rashee Rice could play in Week 1 and then just let the chips fall where they may. I mean, they really want to win that game in Brazil against the Chargers and get that divisional win up early. So under that theory, hey, after Week 1, maybe at that point, powers that be all step in, and now the negotiations get more intense. Because remember, the Chiefs, they have a divisional game in Week 1. They have a divisional game in Week 7 against the Raiders, and then not until Week 11 against the Broncos.
Yeah.
So after you get that divisional game against the Chargers done, does the impetus get a little bit more aggressive to say, okay, you know what, weren't really willing to go to 6 to 8 games, but maybe we would now, just to make sure that Rashee Rice is ready and available for the second half of the season. If the NFL's looking for 10 and you're looking for 6, do you agree on, can you get to 7 or 8? I mean, maybe that happens. I don't know which, how many games each side wants, but if the Chiefs managed to get a scenario where at least they had Rashee Rice for Week 1 and he's back, whether it's for that week or maybe a week earlier for Denver in Week 11, I think they'd be okay with that.
I do wonder, too, as this whole thing starts to unfold, how much the NFLPA will be advising Rashee Rice on the no, we're not going to accept this because we are going to refuse to allow this to have a certain number of games be the precedent moving forward. When 1 or 2 games is the precedent right now, we are not going to allow the precedent to jump from 1 or 2 games to 10. With this, it was wrong what you did, and it deserves punishment. We're not arguing for 0. We're arguing for a punishment, but we're arguing for a punishment that's more in line and precedent with what we've seen. That is as closely related to what Rashee Rice has done without being the Henry Ruggs, over the top, which it could have been. We know that, but there are levels to the whole thing. So it ain't that bad, but it's also worse than what the 1 or 2 game suspension resulted in terms of the felonies and the 30 days in jail and things like that, and the $1.3 million in retribution that he's paid back. I do wonder if there's an element here of the NFLPA saying, Rashee or the Chiefs might be okay with just saying, let's get the suspension over with right now. And the NFLPA is going, no, that's not happening, dude. We are not going to allow that to happen. Plus, Rashee Rice might be like, hey, man, I just paid $1.3 million. I'm going to need some game checks. Those, if it's 6 games instead of 8 games, those 2 game checks matter. I'm a second rounder. I'm not a first rounder draft pick. And the performance enhancers may not happen if, I'm only playing 6 games and I only played 4 games last year. And the second half of my rookie year is when I really came on strong. Those performance enhancers that Trey Smith and James Cook and Kyron Williams and guys like that weren't first rounders that all of a sudden were making, $4, $5, $6 million in the final year of their 4-year deal ain't going to be there for Rashee Rice if he's playing half the season. So now I am playing this last year on the 4-year deal for a second-round draft pick. There's some other convoluted parts of this too that's behind the scenes that maybe the Chiefs would be like, Rice, just do this, Right? I don't have a choice, man. They're not allowing me to do this.
And I'm trying to look up the dates here because, yeah, I mean, I that's the other thing you kind of forget about and everything is that the wheels of justice, no matter what they are, and particularly in the NFL circles, do not run fast because Deshaun Watson's hearing was June 22nd. And then Sue Robinson said, hey, I need more information from both sides, more briefs and everything like that. I went back and forth. Her decision didn't come out till August 1st.
So the hearing was 28th through the 30th. So
there you go.
So 28th through the 30th. So it was 3 days.
June.
So it was June. It was a 3-day hearing, though. That's the thing, is the hearing is scheduled for September 30th for Rashee Rice. Doesn't mean it's 1 day.
No.
That was a 3-day hearing. Now, that 3-day hearing there was a lot of dispute over the facts. There was a wide range. She had to even decide what the facts of the case are that we are ruling on. These are pretty indisputable, right? With Rashee Rice, these facts are pretty indisputable. So June 28th when it started to August 18th when they finally settled on the 11 games. It's 3 weeks. 3 weeks from the first time they met in person.
And it was 2 months from when the hearing started and ended,
right, yeah.
Until her decision was issued. So in this case, you'd be talking about December 1st.
Oh, wow.
Both sides would have 3 days to appeal. And if there's appeal, it's going to go on longer.
And we don't know how long the appeals process would have taken because we didn't go through the full appeals process with Deshaun Watson. They settled while the appeals process was taking place.
Yeah. So, I mean,
So we actually don't know. We don't have a time frame for seeing this thing all the way through to an appeal.
Once again, the crazy thing is that, when we didn't know when, Rashee Rice was going to be facing, when he was going to resolve this case, if he was going to have a court date, if he was going to have a plea agreement, anything of this nature. And at that point, it was like, well, with the wheels of NFL justice, he's not going to be suspended until 2026. He might still not be suspended from 2026, depending on how long, Sue Robinson takes to make a decision, issue her ruling. If there's an appeal after that, how quickly Roger Goodell gets, if he appoints another designee to hear this whole thing. Because I'm trying. I haven't looked up. I don't know if you have the date about when the final, when the settlement was reached. I'm guessing
for
it was
Deshaun Watson.
For Deshaun Watson. I'm guessing it was less than a month after, because I know it would have kicked in before the season.
Well, I know that after they had met, from the time that the ruling happened, there was an extra lawsuit that came about.
Yeah.
That then Sue Robinson wanted to have included in this whole thing. See, this go around, I don't think there's going to be any extra charges from the state of Texas for Rashee Rice from now until when they meet. Whereas Deshaun Watson, they meet earlier, and then we need more information gathered to us before this other hearing because there is now another victim that is alleging something with Deshaun Watson.
And you just knock on wood, if you're a Chiefs fan, to say, as long as also Rashee doesn't do anything else stupid.
Yeah, that is very true. And when you talk about 2016, Tom Brady's suspension was for the 2015 season. And that appeal took the rest of the 2015 season. He was eventually suspended in 2016 for those 4 games, but that was to be the first 4 games of 2015 and that whole process. Now it's a little bit different now with CBA and the disciplinary hearing with this. Sterling brought up an interesting point that came after a texter brought it up first, I think.
Whoa!
No, running joke. Sterling said it, but I was doing something else, so I didn't hear him say it. And then 10 minutes later, I'm like, interesting point from the texter here. And Sterling's like, I said that already. But if this is a Rashee Rice, it doesn't start till, let's say, week 6. How much of a benefit is that to the Chiefs for Jalen Royals getting more acclimated to the offense to maybe play the Rashee Rice role a little bit? Rather, Rashee Rice is going to miss the first 6 weeks of the season. Well, who's Rashee Rice? Juju. We'll try to piece it together. Maybe some things for Jalen Royals. Now it's just Jalen Royals go BU. And if Rashee Rice's suspension starts in week 6 or 7, well, that's, a month and a half? Or it's 2 months from now? 2.5 months almost for Jalen Royals to get more up to speed, to be a part of the game plan?
I think it's a benefit because we know we've seen it in action the last 2 years with rookie receivers that it takes time to acclimate yourself and to get involved. And once again, I think it's going to be harder for Jalen Royals because no offense to him, but he's not a first-round talent. Xavier Worthy was because he went in the first round. I'm going to say Rashee Rice was the first-round
Rashee
talent
Rice was
because
first-round
he would have
talent,
gone in
yeah.
the first round had there not been some flags coming out for
Yeah.
him. So I think it's just that's just going to be the bigger challenge. But no, I mean, the longer you can get into the season before you have to put Jalen Royals in the microwave and get more out of him, the better. I mean, it's just you don't want to see anything that if he's forced into action too early and get some things that blow his confidence. You know, we've seen that happen before. I mean, if you get into a situation where it's week 6, 8, 10, somewhere in there before you really have to depend on Jalen Royals, I think that would be your best case scenario.
Yeah, it'd be, what, 3? If you're looking at the Broncos, November 16th, I mean, 3 months from essentially today,
Yeah.
right around that. So
He's going to be a different player than he is
Yeah.
right now.
well, I mean, if he starts, if he's not needed until October, it'll be a perfect transition because the Royals won't be playing in October, and then there will be a Royals that will be more of a conversation that we'll be having in October. Whereas last year, didn't need him.
Oh, I thought
Didn't
you were
need-
talking about how the Royals aren't going to make the
Yes,
playoffs.
that's
and
what I
they
mean.
won't- okay.
Yeah, last year we didn't need Jalen Royals in October.
you
We had
go.
Royals baseball
We
to
had
talk
Roy-
about in October. Now,
I actually
unfortunately,
understood your joke, and I
got
ruined
that.
it.
No, it's fine.
I
you
had
know.
to explain it to everybody. Make sure I understood it.
No, see, what I think, Jason, is that the Royals played last year in October. Maybe there'll be multiple Royals we'll be talking about this year in October. I don't know. We'll take a time out. We'll be talking to Matt Derrick about what he is watching for tonight. Tonight against, drumroll, the Seahawks. More Zone next. All right, hanging out on a Friday edition of The Zone with Matt Derrick. Chiefs Digest, 41 is the Mike podcast. Matt, we will not be watching Patrick Mahomes tonight. We didn't watch him last night either.
Probably watch him holding the clipboard
that's
and
a good
cheering
point.
on guys.
That's a good point. We'll watch him with the earpiece that he'll have,
Yeah.
so he'll hear the plays. We'll watch him do that. What are you going to be watching for? Anything particular, specific that coming out of preseason game number 1 that might get your attention or focus a little bit more in game number 2?
I mean, all evidence would be that I think you're going to see maybe a pretty good chunk of the first-team offensive line play the first quarter. I can see even like Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith, these guys playing deep into the first quarter. It'd be interesting to see how they handle Jawan Taylor and Jalen Moore. They might split some time. But you're going to see as much Josh Simmons and Kingsley Suamataia, I think, as they can possibly get out there and feel safe doing it, because those are the two guys that you need to see. You need to get some reps from both those guys and a little bit larger sample size, especially for Kingsley.
Do you need to leave Creed Humphrey and Trey Smith out with those two guys?
Leave them in?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Leave them in.
I knew
Or-
what you were saying, but
yeah. I meant like
That's-
leave them out there on the field, but
Yeah,
leave them in the game.
Leave them at the dog park over at the Space Needle. No, exactly. I mean, you want your whole line out there. You don't want those two guys necessarily with a bunch of guys that haven't played a lot with. I think you want that continuity. You want the other guys to be there to kind of take care of things, at least, and you want Creed to be setting the tone. You want him being, making the calls. You want him doing all of that. So that's why I think you could end up seeing most of the starters all play together deep into the first quarter, because I think you want a real test for both Kingsley and for Josh Simmons. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's Gardner Minshew and maybe a decent amount of the twos skill players. I don't know how much Isaiah Pacheco's and Kareem Hunt's and
But a good
Xavier
amount
Worthy's
of
will play.
the Taekwon Thorntons and the
Yeah.
Nico Remigios and the...
There's basically two. I get the sense that there's two missions tonight in this game. One is to get that offensive line some time together, focus on Josh Simmons, Kingsley Suamataia, let them get their work, do all of that. The other thing is then to play as many of the young guys all across the board where you've got roster battles, and let them just get as many snaps as they can in the first half, maybe into the third quarter, and let them battle it out. And it's basically... It is. I mean, it's largely turning normally what would be the third preseason game into the second game and vice versa. I think you're going to see a lot of starters play at least a couple of series, maybe more, maybe less. But I think everybody who sits tonight, I mean, you're not going to see Patrick Mahomes. You're not going to be seeing Travis Kelce. You might actually see a lot of guys on. I mean, you might see some starters on defense. I don't think you're going to see Nick Bolton. Because Nick Bolton was also out there running scout team.
Yeah.
And
Don't need to see Chris Jones, right?
So you don't need to see Chris Jones, but there's a few others. But hey, you know what? Outside, and maybe you leave Trent McDuffie out there to do a few things, just to work with some of the young guys, so you can start. You want to see how those young corners all work together,
Right, put Christian
and
Fulton
what
out
your
there,
best rotation is. So
get him out there and
if
get playing
Christian
time.
Fulton's ready, you see him.
Yeah.
You get as many of those, because this team still doesn't know what its rotation is at corner. So it's got to start figuring it out.
I know that we can't go by precedent the last couple of years for Andy Reid because of him changing things up this year.
Precedent's out the window now.
Yes, no doubt. But preseason game number 2 last year, we talked about the starters playing a little bit longer, and we were discussing, Kingsley, and he got 30 snaps total for Kingsley last year. Maybe he should have had him play a little bit longer in the preseason. One thing to note is that in preseason game number 2, Creed Humphrey played 18 snaps, the same amount of snaps as Patrick Mahomes. But Kingsley came out the next series with the backup offensive lineman to play left tackle. I didn't realize that until looking at it now. I thought he was just out there the same amount of plays as Mahomes and everybody else. Mahomes played 18 plays. Creed played 18 plays. Kingsley ended up playing 24 plays. So they kept him in at left tackle for an extra drive after Mahomes was out. So, which would, again, precedent we can't really go off of, but that could mean that, hey, even if Creed and Trey are taken off the field for Norzad and Caliendo or whoever, you could still have Kingsley and Josh Simmons out there, because last year he did have Kingsley out there with Caliendo and not Joe Tooney for a series. In the last series that Kingsley played in the preseason was with Caliendo and not Joe Tooney.
Yeah, and I would not be surprised again. I mean, if exactly what you said, which is that the subs may start coming in the second quarter, and so maybe you've got what you would call the second team offensive line coming in for Creed and for Trey and for Jawan. Maybe even Jalen Moore's already in there. Mm-hmm. But I guess the one question might be, if you do leave Josh Simmons out there, I personally would. I'd try to get him as many snaps as possible.
If you feel like he's 100%.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're definitely letting those two guys play into the second quarter, and then you may have Norzad, Caliendo, and maybe it's Moore. You've got Wanye Morris might be playing right tackle. Chu Godric might be playing right tackle. Who knows? Yeah,
I'd like to see. It gives me a little more confidence that maybe we'll see Kingsley and Josh Simmons. I think maybe even more Josh Simmons, just because I feel like you can find a way to get around left guard, but they clearly couldn't find a way to get around left tackle to the point that they moved their all-pro left guard to left tackle. So to me, it's more Josh Simmons making sure he's ready to go to start the season against some of the best defensive lines and defensive players you're going to see all season are in the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season for Josh Simmons.
Yeah, I'd have those two guys play the entire first half, frankly.
Yeah, me too.
Honestly, and Gardner Minshew may end up playing most of the first half too, and that would be a good thing too, because he has not had a lot of time with the first team. Be good to get him out there with a little mix of both of them. I mean, if he can play. Needs to play with Creed, because clearly didn't want to put Gardner Minshew under center when he's not taking snaps in a real game from Creed before. Oh, this guy's left-handed? What?
How strong of a grasp does Kingsley Sumatia have in the left guard spot, or is it starting to slip a little bit there?
I mean, I've always felt that it's 90% plus, and I still think that it probably is.
Is it still the same as after week 1 in the preseason?
Yeah, it hasn't really, to me, significantly changed, because the Chiefs, I mean, they don't seem to be, at this point, interested in putting anybody else in there on a even semi-part-time basis. I mean, yeah, Jalen Moore's rotated in there. I mean, and this week, Caliendo, rotated in there for one snap here and there, just because they're getting ready for this game, and Caliendo will probably play he might play all 3 positions at some point. Norzad's probably going to play a couple of those different positions, so you're going to move those guys around. But yeah, no, I think you're probably going to end up seeing. My impression is that you're going to see kind of maybe the 1.5s for the first quarter or so, and then it's going to be mostly the 2 starting in the second and third quarter, and then backups in the fourth.
Yeah.
Seeing Remigio get in as late as he did offensively, was that concerning for you behind Brownlee and Tyquan? And I think that was it. But still, it was later in the game when he came in. He was clearly behind those 2 guys offensively.
Concerning if you're Nico. I mean, and because that, I think, absolutely reflected the roster, the depth chart as we've seen it in St. Joe, and that's been the catch, is that if Nico Remigio is going to make this team, it's as a special teams returner. I mean, that's his role, and if he makes that, then you got to make him into a receiver. And Connor Embry this week basically said exactly that. He's like, and pretty much laid it out. And what we saw in practice this week was exactly that happening, because Nico went from depth chart wise being behind both of those players to, at least numbers wise, to me, by my eye and my count, it looked like he was getting more reps than Brownlee, and maybe up there with Tyquan. But I think they've accepted the fact that they need Nico to be a returner on this team, and if that's the case, he's going to have to play receiver too.
All right, I'll throw this one out there. Is there a name that would be in the category of maybe a surprise cut? Not that you're saying this guy's going to get cut, but hey, if there's somebody that we thought was on the roster that maybe is on the chopping block or should be thinking about that, is there a name?
I mean, if everybody's healthy, the number 6 cornerback, no matter how you slice it, is Josh Williams. And is the team going to keep 6 corners? And I mean, and I'm not even including Chris Roland Wallace in that count of 6 corners, because he's not a corner
anymore.
Him at
safety.
He's a safety. So if you're the number 6 corner, I think you got to be concerned. And probably the other guy on the offensive side, Elijah Mitchell. That's the guy that I'm just not sure if I've seen him really fit in with this team yet.
Yeah. Tonight's a big night for him. Although I'd like to see Elijah Mitchell get some carries with good offensive linemen in there. See what he can do.
Needs a big play.
Yep. Matt, you're the man. Appreciate it, brother. We'll take a timeout. Hey, conspiracy, Gates? Why not? All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you to Matt Derrick. Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. Chiefs in action tonight. Preseason game number 2. They are in Seattle, much to my surprise. Tonight, 9 o'clock, KSHB 41. We've got a Central Bank pregame show right here at 6 o'clock for tonight.
To
Sterling,
your surprise and my demise, because
right?
it's a late game, and I will be
You'll be
trying to stay awake.
Be asleep by halftime. We'll put you to sleep.
No, I'm playing softball from 6:30 until 8:30, the back-to-back one.
Okay,
because
so the second quarter you'll
keep,
be asleep.
That way it'll keep me up
No.
for the start of the game.
Yeah, the start of the game, but you'll be asleep at halftime.
Yeah, what's the over-under bet? We should do a betting line.
So if the game starts at like 9:07, last week went
went long because the last
it was like 10,
quarter,
20 or something is when it got over after a 7 o'clock start. That was absurd.
the last 20 minutes.
Yeah. So let's just say hour and a half is typically would be. So 10:30, yeah, you're going to be out. 10:30 over under. I would say 10:30 and a half. 10:30 and 30 seconds. I'm going to take the under, so you'll be asleep before 10:30.
I'm gonna take the over. I'm gonna get like
you're
cold,
in control of
I'm
that,
getting like
so-
cold water just to give myself
Yeah.
like a face.
I mean, you're in control of that, so I even if I said I'll take the over, you'd be like, okay, cool. I'll just go to sleep at 10:20. That's fine. I'll take some little sleeping medicine. All right, I'll be out. A little grandpa's old cough medicine.
I got some down there in the
You're good
man
to go.
cave. I got
You're good to go.
some nice bourbon down there. That
Be,
larceny. That's like 140 proof. That gets you
oh,
going.
is that right?
It's strong.
It's a lot of proof, man.
130 something, I think.
Proof it.
134.
Proof
It's
it.
strong.
Proof it. All right, 913-912-4810. So I was thinking about this last night and then also this morning, Sterling, this isn't just specifically like Mike Florio. Not at all. This isn't a let's take a shot at Mike Florio. This is a what's going on this past year as well. So Mike Florio yesterday has his story that he releases for Rashee Rice that he talks about once Adam Schefter and everybody were reporting on it. And he talks about why it is scheduled for September 30th and the negotiations that take place behind the scenes, that they have been talking and they did not come to an agreement. So this is the next step, is setting up this disciplinary hearing to see what the results are going to be. So he talks about that yesterday. And then last night, he writes an article that says, why is Rashee Rice's case being delayed, ?
Wait a minute. You just answered the question
Right.
the day before.
Exactly.
Guy.
Like you just did that. And he goes, this is somebody that understands. He's a former lawyer, and I do believe he understands how the CBA works. I do believe that. I think some of this is just to the catnip for the rest of the fans out there.
Sure.
He says, July 17th, Vikings receiver Jordan Addison resolved a DUI citation by pleading guilty to a lesser misdemeanor charge with no jail time. He'll miss the first 3 games of the regular season. July 17th, Chiefs receiver Rashee Rice pleaded guilty to a pair of felonies, served 30 days, and he'll be on the field for at least the first 4 games of the season because his disciplinary hearing won't happen until September 30th. It makes no sense. And it's making some wonder whether someone wants Rice to be available for a quartet of high-profile Kansas City games to start the season.
That Giants game is massive. You have to have him healthy. That's been my pet peeve, by the way, is there's other people on Twitter with large accounts who have been talking along the lines of, well, of course he's healthy for the first 4. And I go, what about the next 4, the ones with like the Lions and
there's a Sunday night, a Monday night, and the Bills.
Yeah, the Bills. It was the Bills, Lions, and
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, the Giants game. They really need him healthy for, guy.
Well, it's like saying that the, quote, high-profile games that he's going to be available for. Like, hold on. You understand it's the Kansas City Chiefs, right? They have 17 games this year. 5 of them, maybe 4, 5 of them are in the early Sunday window. I say maybe 4 because week 18, the Raiders, is early Sunday window. That could get flexed to the afternoon. So 5 of them, or Sunday night,
Yeah.
5 of them, maybe 4 are early Sunday. So you're saying, well, he's going to be available for these high-profile games. Name a 4-game stretch that doesn't include at least 2 high-profile games for the Chiefs.
The absurdity that is, well, and I know why people do it, because 31 other fan bases will agree.
That's
why,
the catnip for
why,
him.
why pander to the one when you can have 31 other fan bases, whether it's true or not, they'll all agree because they hate the Chiefs. And it was like this with the Patriots to an extent. I know I got in there a little bit of if there was even a question if they did something wrong. Oh, no, they were wrong. Because you hate them. The Chiefs are the hated. They hate the Chiefs. They got people, 30 other fan bases rallied around Philadelphia.
Right? I mean, come on. I mean, geez Louise.
Philly. They rallied around the people that hate Santa.
Yes.
They rallied around that team.
So a league source to Mike Florio, and this is where I do think he's being disingenuous on purpose. He's being obtuse for the sake of being obtuse, for the sake of pandering to 31 fan bases. The league source said, maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist, but this is odd. You hardly ever see players get suspended in season unless they did something in season like a drug test or something. And then he writes, here, there's no dispute. Rice pleaded guilty. The question is only the extent of the punishment. Why didn't the league expedite the case? Then he says, at a time when many think the league favors the Chiefs, situations like this will not become evidence to the contrary. If anything, it looks like the dominoes have fallen in a way to ensure Rice will be available for 4 and likely 5 high-profile games for the NFL. But here's the issue with... So
you know he's part of the Ravens, Giants, Chargers, or Eagles. We know he's part of that front office.
But the issue with the, quote, league source, you hardly ever see players get suspended in season unless they did something in season like a drug test or something. Oh, let's look at the Chiefs. Willie Gay agreed to diversion on June 22nd, 2022. He was suspended 4 games on September 19th after week 2. He missed weeks 3, 4, 5, 6, 3 through 7. He missed 4 games, or 3 through 6, whatever it is.
Yeah.
June 22nd, he agreed to diversion. September 19th, they gave him a 4, and he didn't have a disciplinary hearing.
Yeah.
They gave him a 4-game suspension. Frank Clark, his cases from March and June of 2021. He was suspended on October 22nd of 22. After week 8 for 2 games. You don't even have to look much further than the team you're talking about to know that, in fact, they do suspend players in season for things that have been officially agreed upon and finished from the legal standpoint before the season started. They didn't have to expedite Willie Gay. It was June 22nd. There's no reason to, you don't have to expedite Willie Gay to have it done before the start of the season. You got 2 months. There's no expedition needed. You can you just go through the regular pace in the course, but it was still week 3 before he was suspended. So even the own team, like, this is the part about the conspiracy theories that are out there, because it's easy to play in to that. And this is what I was thinking this morning with this. And again, I know that Mike Florio is an easy target for Kansas City for a lot of different things, but
I mean, he brings it on himself
Agreed.
a lot of times.
Yes, I know. And we can go back to 2019 when, if Tyreek Hill ever plays in the NFL again, I will stop covering the NFL.
Shockingly, he's still covering the NFL, right?
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
He is.
Okay.
But here's my what I was thinking about. And some of it is also colored by a couple of nights ago. It came across my timeline. I don't know how. But some guy who is clearly a loser and doesn't have a life and is a Patriots fan spent however long finding, quote, 22 minutes of referees bailing the Chiefs out in their dynasty. 22 minutes worth. And then said, I bet a Chiefs fan can't find 22-plus minutes of the Patriots, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, I'll chase the stick a little bit. And I just quote tweeted and said, the 22-minute video will just be of them filming other teams' practices.
Clever. I like it.
And then that person was like, exactly, you can't do it. I said, well, I have a life. I'm not going to spend the time looking for 22 minutes of referees helping out a team when it happens with every single team. And he's like, yeah, you can't do it. And I'm like, he's like, I have a life too. I'm like, no, you don't, dude. He's like, I've spent the last 2 years doing this. I'm like, you spent 2 years of your life to come up with 22 minutes of official referee calls that you say benefited the Chiefs over 7 years. You do not have a life. And so that, and then the Rashee Rice thing.
By the way, you could have just pulled the one of Chris Jones.
Well,
the roughing the passer.
Oh, it's funny because then he goes, I said, it would take me 30 seconds to find the roughing the passer with Chris Jones. He goes, so predictable. And then he quote tweeted or whatever, his own tweet that said, Chiefs fans are only going to talk about the Chris Jones. And I said, okay, so you can just dismiss that because you know it's there. So you're aware of that one, so that one doesn't count.
What a
you just so anyway.
They got a rule change for him.
I mean,
the Tuck rule. There's a legit rule change.
And it's the Brady, like the roughing the passer calls. Any Patriots fan complaining about a roughing the passer call for Patrick Mahomes was created for Brady. Regardless, that's neither here nor is it there. Hoot nor holler, as you like to say. But what I was thinking about is, like, we talk about all these conspiracy theories that are happening, and this is an element of, you know, I have a theory on conspiracy theories. My theory on conspiracy theories is sometimes things are so big and we can't really wrap our mind around something that happens. So it might be easier just to say, there's a conspiracy to this. That's easy to explain why that happened and that happened. You know, the Chiefs winning all these close games. It isn't just that they made the plays at the right time. Sometimes the ball bounces in your favor. They have been a team that elevates their play while also not panicking in bigger moments, and that has been proven over the years. That's more difficult to explain than, well, the refs just want them to win because it's money. So there's my conspiracy theory. The Patriots dynasty, you had actual things that fan bases could point to discredit the dynasty. You had Spygate. That was a big one. You had Deflategate. You had a serial mass murderer,
allegedly,
on your team. I don't think it's allegedly anymore. I think we're good with that one. You had many things to say, you know, dislikable franchise, and they've been cheating the whole time. That's the only way they were able to do. So other teams were like, yeah, we can discredit. The Patriots aren't doing this because they're smarter, more effective. Brady's better. They find ways to get around aging players. They always replenish. We'll trade this guy before he's old for draft picks. We understand the draft better than others. We trade back and trade back and trade back. So we get it. We're the first ones to understand all of this, and so we're able to extend this dynasty. It can't be that. It's that they were cheating. The difference is there is no gate for the Chiefs right now. There is nothing to point to specifically say this dynasty is happening because of their cheating. So you have to then find something, because it doesn't make sense to you that your team sucks and your team can't figure it out. All you are is a couple of plays away from the referees not screwing you, from you winning multiple Super Bowls. It's just that the NFL has chosen the Chiefs to win. It's not Brett Veach. It's not Patrick Mahomes. Certainly, look at his numbers. It's not Patrick Mahomes. Oh, my God. He's throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage. It's not Andy Reid. I mean, Andy Reid was a choker. He couldn't do it before he got Patrick Mahomes. And it's not Patrick Mahomes because he has Andy Reid, although Andy Reid couldn't do it before Patrick Mahomes. And then Patrick Mahomes is not the reason, is because Andy Reid is so good with quarterbacks. Like, each of them do not get credit because of the other one, which is a great circular argument. Fantastic to come up with that. And so until, hopefully not when, something comes out of, oh, wow, they've been spying on other teams' practices. They've got film of other teams' calls before the Super Bowl against the Rams. Like, they've got all these, they've deflated the footballs, and maybe it was going on for a while, but Tom Brady didn't do it. Then why'd he throw his phone away? Like, all these different, they've got all this evidence to discredit their dynasty, and we don't have that with the Chiefs. So what can we go to? The league loves them. They're getting all the calls, and they're going to benefit Rashee Rice.
Well, it's the same thing that's going to happen if the Eagles go on some sort of dynastic run. I think then the next thing will be the same thing. It's just they'll say it'll be something to do with the salary cap.
Yeah, right,
It'll be like the void years are illegal, and it's unfair how they're able to circumvent all this. There's always something.
Yeah.
Because it can't possibly be that they have found a way to be better than the rest of the league.
Right.
And yes, calls will always happen. There's always going to be a bounce that goes your way. The Bills went to 4 straight Super Bowls.
Yeah.
I know they got blown out in a few of them, but the point still remains. I mean,
they weren't the number 1 seed in all 4 Super Bowls.
yeah, I never understand. I take it back. I do understand why, because as we're talking about, it's there has to be a reason why this team keeps making it and your team isn't. But I don't necessarily understand, I guess, the human nature aspect of it, of why we cannot appreciate greatness when it's in front of us. It's the same thing in the NBA when it's LeBron versus Jordan versus Kobe. Why can't we just enjoy watching them? But part of you, and myself included, I'm like, well, I don't like watching LeBron because his game's not as aesthetically pleasing as Kobe or even as Jordan, so I don't value him the same way. Or there's
Totally understandable.
It's such an interesting.
It's everybody's opinion on how
phenomenon
they enjoy sports and what they watch.
Of how.
But it's a phenomenon of building the new thing up, that this is crazy, this is awesome, to then get to the point of bleep that, it's a fraud, he sucks.
The
it's
Chiefs
this,
were
that.
beloved.
Oh, Patrick Mahomes was beloved.
Remember when they won, when they even lost to the Patriots, there was, how do you call the offsides from other fan bases? Because
every 31 fan bases were rooting for the Chiefs in that AFC Championship game.
And then they won a Super Bowl, and it was so happy for Andy, and everyone was thrilled. And look at this fun new quarterback with Patrick Mahomes, and that's always what it comes down to. I mean, again, if the Bills somehow go on a run and they start piling up rings, which again I don't think so, but I mean, if there was any other team in the AFC to do it, I do think it's Buffalo. In 3 years' time, we'll go, look how happy we are for the Buffalo Bills fans to bleep those guys. They're tryhards. They jump onto tables for fun. They're idiots. You know how it evolves. It adjusts from you love them for 1 year, and then all of a sudden you become the hated, the hunted, it's human nature, and it's so wild to me.
31 fan bases were rooting for the Bills in the AFC Championship game. And if the Bills go on a dynastic run over the next 3 or 4 years, those fan bases will start to hate the Bills and talk about how overrated Josh Allen is. And remember when the referee apologized to Josh Allen on the sideline?
Oh yeah,
remember that? Never did that with Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, Lamar should have had that MVP.
Yeah, exactly. Josh Allen was gifted an MVP. They felt bad for Josh Allen, so they gave him an MVP. Even though he wasn't first-team All-Pro quarterback, they still said he was the MVP of the league.
But the last time the Bills went on a dynastic run, I just felt bad for them.
I know. They made a 30 for 30 out of it, the Four Falls of Buffalo. It was, I did, by the third one, and then, of course, the fourth one, you're like, God, that must suck. I know the Chiefs haven't been to the Super Bowl in, at that point, 30 years.
A lifetime.
But, actually it was 24 years at that time, right?
Could still be a lifetime.
Yeah, it was only 24, 25 years at that time. That's not that bad, right? It's only been 25 years. I know that this team hasn't been there, but, man, I feel bad. I don't know that I would want to go to 4 straight and lose all of them. Now you're just getting made fun of.
Which I actually felt bad, or I was actually wondering about Bills fans watching the Hard Knocks. They have Ray Davis, their running back. Oh, yeah. He was doing, he's their emergency kicker. So in the preseason game, he's getting kicking work in. I'm like, for a franchise that has some pretty famous missed kicks and big-time moments, I don't know if I want to focus on that. I might make sure my kicker gets a lot of extra reps in. I know Tyler Bass, I think, is a little banged up, so it's been Caden Davis, I think. But I was just laughing when they're talking about him kicking. I go, for a franchise that has some pretty famous missed kicks in there, I don't know if I want to talk about a backup running back kicking field goals right now.
Including one just 2 years ago.
Yes.
In Buffalo. That apparently people think that was the game-winning field goal that was a 15-yard field goal or something.
Yeah.
It's a game-winning field goal that was 20 yards, and the only reason the Chiefs beat the Bills is because this kicker sucked so bad that he just shanked a 20-yard field goal that would have given the Bills the win at the end of the season.
How far was
or
it?
end of
40,
the game.
41?
Was,
Is the mic?
Yeah, it's the mic. I'm not sure. Either way, it would have tied the game. I mean, the Chiefs still would have gotten the ball back. Also, McCole Hardman fumbled through the end zone. I mean, the
44.
Bills, 44 yards.
That was 44 yards.
Yeah, 44 is the mic oftentimes. But the last 2 times the Chiefs and Bills have played in the playoffs, divisional round in Buffalo and AFC Championship game in Kansas City, there have been 3 plays that have taken place at the goal line. All 3 of them went in the Bills' favor for a 21/28 point, no, just 21 point differential. The 2 fourth-down conversions, Curtis Samuel and James Cook in the AFC Championship game, and McCole Hardman fumbling through the end zone in Buffalo. All 3 of those plays went in the Bills' favor. It's 21-point difference in those if they go in the Chiefs' favor. And we're not talking about a missed field goal or the spot of a football for Josh Allen. Also ESPN with the Kingdom. I know we talked a little bit about that. The trolling, I don't think they did it to troll, but good God, the billboard in Buffalo and Dallas
Amazing.
is just brilliance. It's just, if you haven't seen it, there's a billboard in Buffalo that says 969 miles to the Kingdom to promote the Kingdom on ESPN. It says all episodes August 14th. And then there's one in Dallas as well that says 560 miles to the Kingdom. Like just, I might, if I was in, I might drop my ESPN subscription at that point.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? Bleep you. I'm out. Not doing it. You can't, you're rubbing it in our face now. We'll take a time. You already did the 4 falls of Buffalo on the 30 for 30. I'm out. We'll take a time out. We'll come back. Who is in? I don't know. Mick Schaefer. He's in. 41 sports director, KSHB. They've got the game tonight. We'll talk with him today. More Zone next. We continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Mick Schaefer hanging out with us, KSHB 41. He's the sports director there, and he's also presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Experience world-class sports facilities, including an ice rink, turf field, and state-of-the-art courts, arcade games, laser tag, bowling, and sports simulators, and yes, a bar and grill. Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk, where sports and entertainment collide. Colliding in the Little League World Series right now, a couple of powerful countries with baseball. Sterling, Drake, to Sterling, don't look.
Okay.
Who do you have in the Canada versus Venezuela matchup in the Little League World Series today?
The baseball portion, I'll go Venezuela.
Yeah.
In the amount of in hockey or curling or the amount of people that are like
anything that is ice or winter related.
I feel like Canada would almost throw it underhanded. Like they'd be very nice and be like,
"Good try, eh?
Here you go, eh?
Good try,
eh?"
I think they are, judging by what's happened so far. It's 1-0. Bases loaded.
1-0.
First inning, no outs.
Yes, Venezuela is
Canada,
up.
though, with a crazy motion, massive strikeout.
Now there's one out. Take that, number 6 hitter for Venezuela.
Dog, that kid from Canada looks cool, though.
He's like 4'5", though. He's got the long hair.
Yeah, the luscious locks.
Oh yeah, he's a
Tim Lincecum there.
Yeah, great motion too.
It's a scrunched load.
Whoa.
Hiding the baseball and then straight. Yeah, I mean, and the hair flying. Yeah,
that
so
is
now,
that is just a
because
that
he's
actually
a smaller
might be
kid.
Tim Lincecum.
He's a smaller. Even on the mound, he's shorter than the dude in the box.
Little Timmy Lincecum.
The kid on the mound is still shorter, even standing on the mound, than the guys at the plate for Venezuela.
Look at the motion though. Look at that.
Oh
thing.
yeah, hiding it.
Can he get out of this?
Yeah,
this is not play-by-play, correct? We're not saying plays.
I don't know.
No, it's not play-by-play.
Violating.
It's not play-by-play. 0-1 count, bases loaded, 1 out. Number 3 on the mound for Canada.
Drake almost went and hit the dump button, I think.
Venezuela, one of the powers. Venezuela, one of the powers of Little League. Little number 3, Canada.
Got a bunch of Salvies just beating up on some nice, funny kids from Canada.
They call him Timmy, eh?
How many?
mound.
Joey Votto, right? They're
Joey
the Joey
Votto.
Vottos.
Yeah, Joey Votto.
He's from Canada.
I believe he was Canadian.
Yep.
Well, it was Freddie
the
Freeman
Nailers,
also
the Naylor
Canadian.
brothers are from Canada.
Yeah, that's right. They are. Mario Chalmers. Boozer.
Who's the center fielder for the A's that makes all the crazy? Was it
Denzel
Denzel
Clark?
He's a cousin to the Nailers.
He's a Canadian?
From Toronto.
How about that?
Freddie Freeman is Canadian.
Oh, there was a...
Freddie Fermin?
No.
Oh, Freeman. Okay, sorry.
Wow, I thought Freddie Fermin would be playing for Venezuela
I'd
in
be
this
closer
one.
to Venezuela.
Joey
odd.
Votto, also Canadian.
Also Canadian.
Yeah, there was a player that was making who's playing Toronto either recently or maybe this weekend, because there was
doubled him up.
Boom, a comebacker right to the pitcher. Little Tim Lincecum snatches it out of the air. This is
gonna get
after
out
the
of
fact.
this.
Can we stop?
After
Can we
the
move on?
fact. This
I'm
is
done
a great
with this game.
Look, he's gonna.
They're 12, Jason. I don't give a hoot nor a holler.
Well, we think they're 12. We don't know. I mean, there have been others that haven't been 12 before. We've been down
The
this road
Canadians
before.
are so nice, they're probably a bunch of 10-year-olds.
They're 10-year-olds.
Venezuela, double check.
I'll tell you this much. This game has zero impact on my quality of life. That much I do know.
There's a lot of things that happen on TV that have zero impact on your quality of life, and you still watch it.
No. Mizzou football, basketball, Mizzou sports, yeah, it's hard. It's a tough life.
Okay, well,
That's what the Chiefs
TV
thank you
shows-
for being good, because that has really upped my quality of life.
random TV shows you watch that have an impact on the quality of life, or you're just hanging out watching TV shows and things like
Family
that.
Feud makes me happy.
Like this is a big moment. All right, this is the gall darn Little League World Series, man. He had bases loaded and 1 out, and
No
bases
outs,
loaded, no
actually.
outs, and he's about to only give up a run. He's got 2 outs now, and he's up 0-2.
And the only run
on the
was on a
hitter.
wild pitch.
Yes, the only run was a wild pitch. I mean,
I
Little
Watch
Lincecum.
Watch Canada just blow them out and win it easily.
This dude's about to get a hold of one like Nathaniel Lowe and Seth Lugo, and all of a sudden it's a grand slam. Like, oh, whoops!
I could not care less.
I could. I clearly could care less. Yeah, I'm saying it correctly. Actually, I could care less. Yeah,
I
because
think
I'm
any time
talking about it.
couldn't care less is the correct way to say
Right,
it.
yeah.
But every time I say couldn't care less, I believe there are ways I could care less. I
Yeah.
could always care less
Right.
about something.
100%. Especially when you reply to somebody on Twitter, is like, I could not care less about this at all. But you replied, so you could care less.
Yeah,
because
but,
you did take time to reply.
But I I feel like I took 2 seconds to write. It's
But,
not like
but therefore, you could
you're-
care less, though. You
Yeah,
could
I
care 2
guess.
seconds less. Huh?
Although maybe replying gets it out of your head, and if you don't reply, you're kind of stewing on
Oh,
it
yeah,
for a
and
while.
then- and then
this
you're
is just
oh.
kind of a release to like, okay, I move on to the next thing.
I could not care
I put
less.
this guy in his place.
Starting now.
Yeah,
Does
starting
that, what does that hat stand for? Manhattan, Kansas?
now. No, this is MKS Pipe and Valve. They're a company.
It's a cool hat.
Great hat. I thought it was Manhattan, Kansas, and I was at a
He got out of it.
I was at a
Got out
golf
of
tournament
it.
at
Nothing.
I think it's in Mission Hills, and these guys were sponsoring a hole. I'm like, oh, those are sweet hats they're wearing. I'm like, Manhattan, Kansas? They're like, no, MKS Pipe and Valve. I'm like, okay, gotcha. And they're like, here,
Sold.
have one.
Sold.
We love
because they got a
pipes.
little Wolf Creek logo on it. Although I've never played
I figured
Wolf
maybe
Creek.
it was your initials or something.
It's close. The M and the S. Yeah,
Mick Killian Schaefer.
that's right.
Just
yes.
missing a J, though.
It's Killian, but I spell it with a C. Like Murphy.
At least they like right away. Bethany and I, we were in Tahoe, and the American Century Championship was going on. And last year, Sterling, remember they gave us the hats. NBC did the American Century Championship hats.
yeah.
We were there, and they were like, "Yeah, go ahead, grab one." So they've got the hats out on the big table, and Bethany and I are walking over there, and I'm like, "Man, I got the black one last year." I'm like, and there's a lady standing right there, and Bethany and I are talking, and she's smiling while we're talking. And then I'm like, the gray one looks nice this year. Said, I think I'm going to go with the gray one. I grabbed it. She goes, these are for the celebrities only. I'm like, we've been standing here for 5 minutes discussing like which one we may like. And Bethany's like,
buy one?
Bethany's like, I think would he like the black? Would he like the white? Like we're having this
She's
discussion.
actually helping you out with your decision,
Yes.
and then in the end, she's like, "We can't have one."
Try the gray on. Ooh, the gray looks really good on you.
you.
Oh no, you can't
can
have
have
that.
it, but
No. This for the
You should
celebrities
have
only.
said, do you not know who I am?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you see my media badge?
could be,
James Anderson.
You could be
Clearly.
Bill Hader. You kind of remind me of Bill Hader a little
Okay,
bit.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? He kind of does
yeah,
look
he's
a
a
little,
little Bill Hader.
Bill
A little
Hader-esque.
Bill
Yeah.
Hader-esque. Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
You look like
Oh, don't
Mick
say
Schaefer.
It. Don't say it.
Brad Pitt a little bit.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, a little
That's
Brad
a first
Pitt.
and a lie.
Drake has a little Tom Cruise, and then
I got some Tom Ham at one point.
You have a little
Oh, not Tom Ham.
John Hamm?
John Hamm.
No.
Yeah. No, Tom Ham. Actually,
No,
it's his brother. No, his brother. Not as
you
good looking.
describe me
Not as
more
good looking.
as like what's it, Donnie and Big Lebowski?
Who, me?
No.
No,
Steve
You
Buscemi?
think I'm
you
Steve Buscemi?
you look a lot like Steve Buscemi. Like, so we got a little Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, and then you look a little Steve
Actually,
Buscemi.
you know what I've gotten a lot is Adrian Brody.
Yeah, a little bit.
They're
maybe.
like, okay, yeah.
I don't
no.
see it though, Mick. Don't you see a little Steve Buscemi? Has anyone ever told you that before?
You don't see Adrian Brody?
Your eyes aren't buggy, so
Yeah.
I can't call you
Thank you, I
Steve.
appreciate that.
Wait, no.
Buscemi.
Yeah, I'm not
Let me
Steve
pull
Buscemi.
a picture.
You can pull it. We all know
We
what
know
Steve
what it
Buscemi
looks
looks
like.
like. I'm aware. I've seen his movies. I'm a fan.
I get, unfortunately, Adam Sandler and Seth Meyers a lot. And what's his name
You do look
from
Seth
The
Meyers.
Hangover?
Zach Galifianakis.
Ed
Helms.
Ed Helms,
You can.
yeah.
I can see a little Ed Helms. You're telling me he doesn't look. That's a little.
I actually might fight you.
God, say.
Sterling, do you not see Rick Moranis in Sterling here? Do you not? I look at Sterling and I clearly see Rick Moranis.
Too good looking. You got to find
My,
somebody
Good
Yeah.
else.
point. That's a good point.
My-
Rick Moranis does lap him.
My favorite thing to do now is
Steve
I
Buscemi.
love going. Has anyone ever told you look
That's
like
great.
Steve Buscemi?
Yeah.
And just,
That's a great one.
I was hoping you were going to go in with it a little more with me. I did that one time at a party.
Thank you, Mick.
I told a couple guys beforehand. I go.
You got to let me know beforehand.
I went to a couple guys. I goes, okay, guys, I'm just gonna go up, letting you know full transparency. I'm gonna say he looks like Steve Buscemi, and back me on this. And they're like, yeah, he got.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You do look like Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, especially in Boardwalk Empire. That Buscemi, that era.
And you pull up maybe the worst picture possible of Steve, not even like a good one of him where it's like a portrait, one where he's really bugging out.
I'm gonna go with John Hamm still on this one.
Yeah, that's a compliment. I don't see it, but yeah, I would take that.
I don't see it
every
either.
day of the week.
I don't see it either. Adrian Brody. I don't see it either. Way better looking than Adrian Brody. Oh my goodness, not even close.
Well, your nose is smaller.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Checks in the mail, buddy.
Okay. Hey, guess what I did last night? I hosted the Kansas City Sports Awards, which is such a cool event.
Right.
I don't know what they're doing having Kevin Holmes and myself host it, but we've done it for 2 years in a row, and it was awesome. Again, they put on such a good show. And some of the winners last night were Q and JJ for Coach of the Year and Executive of the Year.
Wow. So
They were there.
Thank God you didn't give that away a couple days ago.
That's right. I did a little bit.
Wait, he won Coach of the Year, but I think a lot of fans would disagree with you.
He's a Manager of the Year. Oh, I see. Yeah. He did win Coach of the Year in the same year another coach in town won a Super Bowl. So I told him, like,
difficult to do.
That's a good accomplishment there.
I thought it was odd that you turned it into a roast. the
Dude,
hosting turned into a roast. That was odd.
So it
was a choice.
I had 3 to 4 stadium jokes written to go in there. And then I found out that not only was John Sherman going to be there, but I was at his table.
Oh, no.
And then you have Mayor Q and a ton of politicians there. So I cut it down to 1. And
what was the joke?
Can you give us a little preview?
Yeah, it was or it'd be a post.
Guess it wouldn't be a preview. Yeah, a little review.
A look back on it.
Yeah.
It was a recap.
Yeah, can you give us a recap?
So we were talking, Kevin and I, at the beginning of like, hey, Kevin Holmes, Mick Schaefer, we're on the news. For anybody under the age of 40, the news is what your grandparents watch, right? Yada, yada, yada. Played off that. And then, but not tonight. The news has stopped tonight so we can be here. We made sure there's no news going on. The Royals are off. The Chiefs are off. We've called all the criminals and told them, don't do it tonight. Save it for the weekend. Save your B&E for Saturday, whatever. And with no water main breaks, everything's covered. And then I ended with, we even called all the politicians and said, don't decide on a stadium tonight. And they were all like, yeah, we're good. Yeah, we're good on that. We're not, no chance. No chance on that. So that was the only one. And that was fine. That was innocent enough.
Did you get a chuckle?
Yes. Apparently even John Sherman laughed at
that.
Yeah.
You want to tell us the jokes that you weren't able, that you
Yeah, they weren't worse. There was just more of them to where like I was introducing Kathy. And Kathy Nelson, president of the Sports Commission, I really played her up. I said she's got her hand in everything. She's brought in, all these championships. She's brought in a world, overseen World Cup coming here, overseen, AFC Championship games, Super Bowl appearances, NFL draft, all that stuff. And has overseen a stadium vote that should be decided within the century. So
I would have liked that one. That was good.
It's fine. I think that was harmless, but I was like, nah.
No.
I even said Kathy had she was 2-0 coming out of the bullpen in 2015 for the Royals in the World Series. Not a lot of people know that, and that she was a defensive tackle for the Chiefs in Super Bowl 54. She's got her hand in everything.
Yeah, actually, people don't realize that.
They don't realize
They don't
that.
remember that at all.
Yeah.
So you can't even find video of it.
She's so small, you wouldn't think of it. I'm like, that's not the size of the dog in the fight, kids. Okay,
Absolutely, no. It's the
Stop
size
judging
of the
books by covers.
fight and the dog that's in the fight.
Yeah.
And the dog.
So it was a great time. Salvi was recognized. Is there an award that Salvi in baseball hasn't won? I mean, Roberto Clemente Award.
Yeah.
A couple other humanitarian awards.
MVP, regular season.
Well, I
MVP.
think
Regular season MVP. We got he's got
Super Bowl.
World
Super Bowl-
Series,
Super Bowl
World Series MVP.
Also defensive tackle on that 2019 team,
could've been.
Salvi.
In 2011, he's more of a tight end. In 2025,
Now he's Omar Norman Lott.
more of a D tackle.
Odd. Okay, that's fine. But like off the field stuff, yeah. I mean, the guy is amazing.
But even on,
But yeah.
Silver Sluggers, Gold Gloves, All Stars, all that stuff. You're right.
he just needs a league MVP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it.
But he's had a home run title,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
Led the league in RBIs. So, yeah, what a career. And so him and Sarah Nauser, the staffer, she was in the Royals dugout. She worked security there and was diagnosed several years ago with ALS.
Yeah.
And so she's always around there. And the Royals bring her every game. She's such an inspiring person. And so her and Salvi were given an award, and that was a special part of the night.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter. I saw that being posted. That was really cool with Salvi and Sarah, and that her story for those of us locally has been much documented and talked about, which is very cool that the Royals do that. Also, that she's okay with being as public about her fight, because it does bring attention to it. Like there's way more attention to that for me, and I know it's something that's very near and dear to Steven's heart. But there's more attention with me by watching the Royals and watching her and her journey from even videos of when she was first diagnosed to now, and seeing the effects, the impacts it has not only on her but the family, and what the Royals have done has been awesome, and embracing her and the Royals players and everything is really cool.
We found out last night. So ALS is, if you want to call it the worst disease out there, I don't think you'd be wrong. But part of that is the financial burden it can bring upon you and your family. And so through her organization, just last week, they were able to cut a check to a lady with ALS who had his kids. They're about to get evicted from their house.
Oh, my God.
Cut a check for them to be able to stay in their house. And so when they told that story, that was pretty moving. And so great night all around. Timwa Shawinga was named Athlete of the Year. And I interviewed her on stage, and it was really cool. I didn't know they played a clip of people in her village taking buckets down to a river to get water every morning at like 5 a.m. and walking them back a total of like 5 miles.
Wow.
It was 5 kilometers, so 3.1 miles. Every day she would do it. And
They had video of her?
No, it was
just,
from her village, but she did
But
it.
this is what
she
she-
talked
yeah.
about it, and
Wow.
like her pet project now is fresh water.
Yeah.
I can't remember the exact name of the organization, but that's what she champions. And she had a great point. She's like, States, if you want water, just go to the tap. If you want to shower, just go to the shower. If you didn't go get your 4 or 5 gallons of water that morning, you would not have water for the day. And you had to find the clean water, fresh water. And
Wow.
I told my kids, who have been going nuts since our ice machine broke last couple months ago.
get it.
We're
That
doing
sucks.
the trays.
Oh, my God.
They think we're living in the
Peasants.
1800s.
You freaking
Okay,
peasant.
I'm like, okay, you want to go get water and put it on your head and walk it back? I didn't think so. Shut up.
Yeah.
Fill the tray.
Yeah, the only
Deal
way in
with
the 1800s that they got ice, they just had to actually
You're
go
gonna
to
make a
like
shirt called-
Antarctica.
Make a shirt
to get
called
ice.
"Fill the Tray."
Fill the tray.
Fill the tray, you know? Yeah, I can't. Gosh, man, I remember we had to do that at one point. Like, ugh. Yeah,
We
it
always
was
had
crazy.
like the last piece of ice, you had to fill the tray. So we'd leave one piece of ice in there, put it back in there. Just being AHs.
I guess I'm not going to have ice
Yeah.
with this one. You know, no ice is fine.
My kids will not put it back in there empty. They just won't put it back in there.
Yeah,
they just
right.
leave it out.
Just
for
put
somebody.
it
Somebody does it.
in the sink.
Dad, Mom and Dad, there is this fairy that
it's an
comes
ice
at night,
fairy.
right?
It's
okay,
amazing.
you leave it out. I come back. It's filled with ice. It's back in the fridge. It's amazing. Seriously. I know it sounds crazy.
But it's true.
It's true.
so true.
Same thing happens with
Amazing.
my laundry.
Every time. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Continue rolling more zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41 Sports Director, hanging out with us, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. We'll talk a little Royals in the 1 o'clock hour, talk a little Chiefs in the 1 o'clock hour. What time's the pregame show start? 6? 4:30?
8, baby.
1.
We're doing an hour.
Oh.
It is a preseason game.
What time's the postgame show start?
Midnight or later.
Eastern?
I am not working it. No, it'd be something
midnight
Eastern.
midnight Mountain Time.
No.
Who's
If you're
who's gonna do the
confused
show?
like Jason out there, just turn your television over to KSHB 41 right now,
Yes.
and you'll be good for
Okay.
the pre, the post, and the during game.
Oh yeah. Are you doing a halftime show?
There is a halftime show that Kevin has recorded over at the Chiefs studios. Little Tim and Dill.
How's he already recorded? How does he know what happened in the first half?
People forget sometimes. Yeah, exactly.
How does he know?
NFL halftimes go like that.
They're pretty quick.
College football go like.
Let me hit the snooze button.
Do you have your
can we wait
suit
6
laid
more
out
minutes?
for pregame yet?
I am not working tonight, so
Wow.
Look at him. That's not a work outfit.
no.
That's
I'm
not
going
a
straight
heading
to the
work.
pool, baby.
Yeah, I'm heading to the pool.
Oh, the pool.
What pool
Got
we
2 more
going to?
weeks.
Rather
Neighborhood?
not say the wet one.
Neighborhood pool.
I'll see you
Not
there.
even the neighborhood pool.
HOA pool. Hoa. That's where
I'll
he's
see
going
you
to
in
be.
your backyard.
Oh yeah,
You got a pool in your backyard?
I do not.
Look at you.
It's above ground.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
it's a 6x6.
It's called the
feet.
water hose.
That's enough for both
just
you and
spray
me.
the kids down.
Huh?
That's enough for you and me.
It's good to see you, Sterling.
Yeah.
It's good
Hey,
to be
you
here.
see it, man.
I remember back in the day when it was like, when we were a little kid, when we lived in a house when I was small, and running through the sprinkler was like the coolest thing ever. We didn't have a pool; there was no HOA, so you didn't go to the pool. But it was like, dude, we got a sprinkler. Hell, we're gonna run it through the sprinkler, yeah! Which is kind of like camping as a vacation. It's a little bit of the same thing. We're going on vacation. Where? We're gonna go camping. Is that a vacation? Kind of feel like you're just not being in the comfort of your own home there. So you guys are gonna get out to the water? Yeah, we're gonna turn on the sprinkler.
Once a summer,
But my kids love it. They absolutely love it.
once a summer, one of us would get a slip and slide.
Oh, the best.
And you would have it for the weekend. That's it, because you would tear it up.
Tear it
You'd
the hell up.
You would up
Yeah.
and down it so many times, and then you wouldn't have it. And then I don't know, several months later, next summer or whatever, your best friend, they went to Wichita. Hey, I got one. And we go to their yard, we kill their grass for a weekend, just
100%.
nonstop.
That was
slip
the
and
part I
slide.
remember about slip and slides.
Oh, man.
Was the parents
Done for.
always being
They're
like,
so mad. Yes, the grass is
the
dead.
grass is gone.
Yeah.
We had a lumpy backyard. My kids hated it because
The slip and slide.
tree roots and stuff. And oh.
It had,
Tree
some-
stump.
it had suspense to it, really. Am I about to take one to the kidney here?
Toughen them up, you know what I mean? Is your son playing football? No. It's
Slip and slide. Tougher, actually.
Play slip and slide. Like, we never had one, and nobody around us ever had one because they cost money.
Just get a tarp.
And just like
Exactly. All you needed was
All you
could
needed is a-
staple some trash bags together.
we didn't have trash bags either. That was the
You
thing.
didn't have
I would just look.
sprinkler.
I would just look. Didn't have a sprinkler either. Running water was an issue. I would just look longingly.
Were you in Malawi like Tim Washawinga?
No.
Okay.
No. Close though.
Lee Summit.
Yeah. The kids. Lee Summit is such. Where we lived, the kids in high school called it Sin City, where my neighborhood was. Dude, you live in Sin City? Yeah.
Guess so.
I guess. I mean,
Sounds
I
like
don't-
Pac-Man Jones wants to visit.
I know, right? We were just being rebellion. I would just look longingly at somebody that had like, you got a slip and slide? Oh man, what's that like?
What's it like? You
What's
just
it like
do it
to
anytime?
be like? So is that like sitting like first class? Do you have a private plane too? You got a slip and slide. Wow. Do you have your own car? I know you're 12, but have they bought you a car yet? You got a slip and slide? Your own slip and slide. God, do you choose between 5 rooms in the house that you can sleep in? This is crazy. How do you have that money? A slip and
We
slide.
got one for my son's
God.
birthday when he was, I don't know, maybe turned 8 or something like that, and put it downhill. And at
Yeah.
the end, it was a big old shark's mouth that you slid into.
Yes.
It was great.
That's
the water
amazing.
pulled up at the end.
That's awesome.
Great day.
think
Killed the
it-
grass for like a year.
100%.
In
as it
college,
should.
we did that, and we did down
in
one,
college.
and we we put like I think a mattress in front of a tree. So then you would just
makes
go
sense.
Absolutely,
into
yeah.
you get some speed going, but then you're not going to get too injured because the mattress,
Yeah.
Explains a lot about you, though.
Yeah.
the paint chips or the
That was what I was going to go with. At the end, did you eat paint chips before you got to go again?
like before
It's
you
like just
went.
the-
that was the.
Did you guys wear a helmet? Was it an
that
old
was the-
football leather helmet?
the,
That's
the,
what it
the
was.
flavor.
But you would take the smelling salts before you actually got on there, before you slid into the tree that was protected by let me guess, a mattress at a fraternity house. Let me see how well that
I
one
don't know
works.
whose mattress that
God.
was, too, by the way. I have no idea.
Yeah, I bet that
Yeah,
thing
it
really
protected you
offered
from
cushion.
the tree, but not from the STD.
I was going to say the springs that would pop out from it.
that too.
That's what I was going to say. Was that from the tree? No, I got stabbed by the spring.
No,
but
S in STD stands for
the
springs.
Spring totally dented my arm right here. It's a dented. It's a spring.
That or
to
throwing
dent
the tarp
arm.
in the back of a truck and then putting hot water in that. Then you have a redneck hot tub. That was always a good move, too. Destroyed that dude's suspension in his truck, but good move.
Yeah, but it was fun for an hour.
For us non-truck owners.
Yeah.
Never did that.
You have a truck, right?
I do.
I have an idea.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Jason's going to buy a tarp.
Okay.
And
I don't have that kind of money.
We're going
What are
to
you talking
fill your
about?
bed of your truck with water. And then it's going to get warmed by the sun.
And just sit in there, drive around with it?
We didn't drive around with it. We didn't think that far
should've.
ahead.
We don't have slip and slide type money. You kidding me? I'm
Mick,
not going
you
to
in?
buy a tarp.
I got a bed liner already. Maybe I already got the tarp. Maybe it's watertight already.
Let's try it.
Let's try it.
What if I participated, but I just said, "Ooh, sorry, I forgot that." Sterling said tarps off.
Tarp's off.
You said bring the tarp, and then he said tarps off, so I didn't bring anything. So I misunderstood, Sterling. There you go.
It's on you.
That is. On the other side of the break, we'll talk sports,
No.
tarps,
Hate it.
slip and slides.
Horrible idea.
We'll find out. Mick Schaefer hanging out with us. We had up until 2. All right, 3, 2, and 1. We ready? Mick Schaefer hanging out with us. We had up till 2 o'clock. He's presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk on this Friday.
Yeah, I know it's tough. We were all eating nuts in that break.
Yeah, we got the cashews here, and it's not a good thing to do on the radio is to have that as you're getting ready to talk. But that's okay. It was really good, so it was hard to turn down. Man, they're addicting. That's for sure. Mick Schaefer is here with us. The punishment for Michigan came down, and the sign stealing. Sending the coach ahead to different teams, advanced scouting that apparently is wrong in college football, that is widely accepted in the NFL. Although, can you videotape it? I don't know, whatever. But Michigan got their final ruling. They were fined $20 million. They've got, I think, 5 years probation. Sharon Moore has a 3-game suspension. He's already taking a 2-game suspension this year, so they're going to give him an extra 1-game suspension next year in 2026 because you can't plan for him to be suspended this year. No, it's nope. You're 2 this year, 1 next year. A good idea to spread it out.
It's odd.
Jim Harbaugh was given a 10-year show cause penalty.
Was he really?
Yes, a 10-year show cause penalty for Jim Harbaugh.
It's fine. I've been listening to Colin Cowherd a lot, and I've learned that he's about to go on a 10-year run of winning a lot of Super Bowls.
Yeah. Dennis Dodd tweeting out, fun fact, Jim Harbaugh's 10-year show cause penalty doesn't start for 3 years because he is still serving a 4-year show cause penalty from the previous Michigan Level 1 violations. Right now he's got 13 more years of show cause penalty for Jim Harbaugh. No postseason games vacated. Oh, people were pissed off about this, which is so weird because when games get vacated, people go, it's so hollow. Who cares? The games happen. We know they happened. We know they won them. Then a game doesn't get vacated. Like, oh, so you're just going to let them have that championship? So they cheated for a championship and you're not going to vacate that game?
I would rather go future. I'd rather have a postseason ban.
Right. Yeah, they're losing postseason revenue,
but that
which is going to come up to like $20 million.
Who weren't involved.
Oh, yeah, but that's how it always works.
Yeah.
So.
I've always hated that.
I have too. That's why I'm like, I'm surprised because Sterling, there's been so much of it feels like a universal. The vacating of games is kind of dumb because we saw the games happen. I'm surprised that that's one of the main complaints of this was like, hold on, they didn't have to vacate any of their postseason wins or their national championship. They didn't have to give that up. What the hell? It's like, haven't we been arguing about how dumb this is for a while?
Well, it could be different people, but probably could be the same people that had different sizes of their mouth.
Same person. It was Ohio State fan.
I don't know. I mean, in this day of the portal, like you give them a ban, that would be a big deal because kids don't have to stick around and put up with that.
100%.
They could flee, and that could really set you. That could really set you back.
I guess that actually makes more sense in today's landscape. But still, if you do it this late, it makes it difficult. You would almost have to plan it out for the year.
How about this? You get to play in the postseason, but you start being down. You're down 21-0. You start the game down 21-0
That's such an advantage for the team you get matched up against. Like, oh, please get Michigan. Please let us get Michigan. Please let us get Michigan. We're the 4th seed. We got to go to number 12 seed. Yeah. Woo! We get Michigan in the first round. Heck yeah. All right. 21-0. We're up, guys.
We're going to sit on the ball from the moment the game starts.
Yes. Stuart Mandel tweeted this out a little bit ago, said, at his post-game press conference after the national championship, someone asked Jim Harbaugh about what it means to be a Michigan man. His answer was, you don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't steal. It's funny.
That's hilarious.
Because of this whole thing. But I always thought it, like, again, it's the whole vacating of games. So Louisville's banner came down in 2013. They lost the national championship. And they lost the national championship. The NCAA granted immunity to 2 players for them to tell what happened. And in their meeting after being granted immunity, they were present at one of the parties. So the NCAA deemed them ineligible and then vacated every game they played in. But we are not suspending you going forward. No. Like, hold on, what? You granted them immunity, and then you're like, okay, cool, you have immunity. But we are going to punish the team that you played for while you had immunity, while you let us know you were there at these particular parties that took place. So sorry about that. You played in those games, and now the national championship is vacated.
It's going to be NCAA's so mad at Michigan, they're going to really take it out on Marshall.
Yeah, with the Jerry Tarkanian line.
Yeah.
They were
They're
so mad
pissed at Kentucky that they're going to hammer Cleveland State.
Yes.
Well, they were so mad at North Carolina, they took it out on Missouri.
Yeah.
That they did. That they did, Edward. That they did indeed. Yeah, because North Carolina didn't tell on themselves. Missouri did. Like, you idiots, you told on yourselves? Principle alone, we're going to hit you hard. I mean, at least North Carolina was smart enough to fight. I mean, don't just lay down and take it, Mizzou. I mean, fight.
What was Mizzou's?
Why don't you stand up and fight this guy like you done
They
before?
had a tutor.
The dude did some work.
Dude,
Did the work.
Yeah, well, but fake classes.
And North
totally
Carolina
fine.
had a fake class.
Yeah,
Totally
yeah.
cool.
The problem is the tutor was helping only athletes. Had the tutor been helping random students too, all good, all in the clear. Because that's
It's a
what,
rogue tutor.
yeah, because North
That was the
Carolina.
whole thing. Was like it's the tutor's fault. It's like the tutor's the one that should be the one getting in trouble, not Missouri sports.
Yeah, but she was only helping out athletes. North
That's on
Carolina's,
her.
I know North Carolina's classes were open to everybody. Now, the athletes used it and the teams used it to keep them eligible, but it was open to everybody. It wasn't an extra benefit for being an athlete. It was just that North Carolina had fake classes that athletes knew about. That's all.
What are you looking forward to in the Chiefs game?
Yeah, what are you looking forward to,
What's
Nick?
the main storylines? I know we were having fun.
I was pretty happy last game when it got over.
Yeah,
So that's one thing.
but you're not working tonight, so, it can go as long as you want.
Again.
So there you go.
Let's see. I guess I'm supposed to say offensive line.
Yep. You're
You know,
supposed
that
we wrote
sixth
down
and
the answers
seventh
for you.
receiver.
Did you get the answers
battle.
before the show?
I did.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm supposed
Thank
to
you.
say that. What else am I supposed to
Was
say?
there a player or two? How about that? Is there a guy or
No.
two?
No.
I sent you those answers too.
Oh yeah. Wait, who is it? Is it Kingsley? Josh Simmons. Yeah, gotcha. What's Brownlee? Is it Brownlee too? What's my line? Is it Brownlee? Brownlee.
Elijah Mitchell.
Elijah Mitchell.
Elijah
sure.
Mitchell,
Yeah.
running back. Elijah Mitchell, running back.
Gotcha.
Say
Elijah Mitchell, running back.
Yeah, Sterling,
I
you were
can't wait
talking
to
about
see
that.
Him
Yeah.
run it.
You're
from
talking
the
about
backfield.
Elijah Mitchell, right, Sterling?
I think that there's something interesting there. I think that there's actually more in the line for him. I know there's been some conversations with Rashard Smith maybe not being as safe as one would hope for a draft pick at running back, but Elijah Mitchell, to me, I think he needs to prove something this game and next, because I don't think his 53-man spot is safe, especially if we start getting to more veteran running back roster cuts as training camp, or should I say preseason, continues to roll on. I don't think Mitchell is safe at all. We've not seen, I don't think, much from him.
Yeah.
He has to bring the juice, and I know it's going to be hard if he's behind a backup offensive line
I
a
wanna
good chunk
see
of
him,
this game, but
I don't. If the starters aren't playing, then don't play Pacheco, and then let's see Elijah Mitchell in the first quarter with the starting offensive line.
would love that.
Like if he's going to be a guy that's on your team and you brought him in to show a little burst, let's see what he looks like when he's not running behind. The guys that he was running
Morsad,
behind,
Hansen, and
Hansen
Caliendo, and
Dalton Cooper and
Driscoll. Driscoll's
and
right.
heck, Lombard bleeped it up. Poor guy, Joey Lombard. I don't know much about him, but it's just funny. I'd like to see that with Elijah Mitchell, and then it's also like Robert Tonyan. Can he have another nice game to continue where he was because last week it was like, okay, he had that game, kind of feel like he's definitely on the team. Well, if he has another game like that, then we'll feel like he's solidified his spot as probably the third tight end, even though they've got Jared Wiley as a draft pick last year. I think Tonyan would and Gardner Minshew was looking for and other guys. Gardner Minshew was fine in Thornton. Tonyan was open a lot, so it's a good game for him.
I think Wiley actually has more to prove than Tonyan at this
Yeah,
point.
it's true.
I think because if they're going to keep 4 tight ends, then it's probably Wiley as the fourth one. But if they only roll with 3, or let's say on game day on the active 50, or on the active, was it 46? Is that what it is now? 46? That fourth tight end is probably inactive. So I think Wiley actually has a lot more to prove at this point than Robert Tonyan. It's kind of the same thing with maybe Remigio and obviously Jason Brownlee, but I think Tyquan Thornton now has solidified himself on the roster. So now it's up to Remigio or Brownlee to prove that they might be on it.
What would be interesting for Remigio is if Rashard Smith comes out and has like some big punt returns. because that would be bad for Remigio.
Correct.
Because Remigio's like psyching him out. You can't catch this. You can't. Hey, hopefully you don't do like you did in warm-ups there, guy, and drop the punt there.
So when you catch a punt, you want your hands far away from each other. You don't want them to touch. You want them.
Because one of the things with Brashard Smith is that, okay, if you keep Remigio, can you trust that Brashard Smith is your punt returner? Because remember, you tried to turn Sky Moore into a punt returner. That wasn't a punt returner. And so are you going to do that again with Brashard Smith to turn him into a punt returner who's not a punt returner? And you've got Nico Remigio, who Dave Tobe really likes and has made some plays and has shown that he's got the ability to break some special teams plays open. But are you going to be redundant at that point and you can keep somebody else with a different skill set? You know, because I do think the wide receiver group is built like a basketball team to a degree. So you'd have like your point guard, you got your center, you got your big guy, you got your rebounder, you got this guy that's a defender, you got this guy that's a slasher, you got your shooter. Like for the Chiefs, they got Rashee Rice, they got Hollywood Brown, they got Xavier Worthy. All those guys do different things.
Juju's the wily veteran.
Juju's the leader of the clubhouse, right? Royals is the younger guy. Tyquan Thornton is like Xavier Worthy. Nico Remigio, well, they have Nico in Hollywood and maybe Tyquan and maybe Xavier Worthy already. But do they have Jason Brownlee, who has an incredible catch radius, who's 6'3", and is the guy that they've been trying to get from Jody Fortson and Justin Ross? It's at least one particular thing that they don't have out of that group of receivers right now, that there's nothing Nico Remigio brings to the receiver room that somebody else can't bring that's already on the team.
The Isaiah Hartstein, if you will. He's the big guy.
That's exactly right, yes. But he offers so much in the return game over what they have as a potential, because no idea what Brashard Smith's going to do as a returner. No clue. Is he going to catch the ball? Is he going to Sky Moore this thing?
Are you used to say it's the Chiefs, just call fair catch.
Yes,
Don't try to
my
same
favorite,
way?
Yeah,
Same
my
way?
favorite punt returner should be nobody or Trent McDuffie. Nobody or Trent McDuffie fair catch it every time. Because Dave Tobe has said, well, if we need a guy that's just going to go out there that we know is going to catch the ball, that's probably McDuffie. Done. Found it. Figured it out. I found Dave. Oh, me. Calling me. Calling me. Come on. Yeah. I figured out your punt returner, sir. McDuffie. You said he's the one that you trust the most just to catch the ball. Got it. That guy. What if he's hurt? The guy who's Trent McDuffie still, but just have him stand on the sideline. And just nobody back there to return punts. It's the Dave Tobe, the Hippocratic oath of at first do no harm to Patrick Mahomes getting the ball. That's it.
So even in last year's offense that labored a little bit, had to take longer drives, all that, you would still like that?
Yeah. Even though Remigio had some plays, it's just the risk of the fumble or the holding penalty, that.
It's more the holding penalty than anything else.
Yeah,
The penalties that
I actually think
that
Josh
bring you
Williams
back.
just got another holding penalty on special teams today. That went to last year.
I think Esapole is someone that I'm really looking forward to in this one.
On the
in
return
particular.
game?
No.
I don't think he's going to make it as
That'd
a
be a
returner.
curveball.
That would be wild.
By the way, did you see Joe Tooney and Grady Jarrett lining up outside one-on-one for a wide receiver defensive back?
No.
They did the Bears and who'd the Bears do play in their practice scrimmage, whatever joint practice that they do. At the end, they had Joe Tooney. Who's Grady Jarrett with now? I don't even know. It doesn't matter.
Falcons, I thought.
Yeah.
If he's still there.
So they had him lined up with Joe Tooney and to run a route, and Joe Tooney stutters, and Jarrett goes to chuck him at the line, and Tooney slips like to the side with his shoulder pad, and Jarrett misses and loses balance, and Tooney cuts inside and runs a slant route and catches the ball with his hands and takes off, and Grady Jarrett's rumbling down to try to catch him and never does, and the whole Bears sideline goes crazy because that might have been the last thing that they did of the day was Tooney versus your defensive tackle. It was kind of fun.
That's cool.
We don't see that. They should do that tonight. Esapole
I do
versus
think
Jaron Reed.
if I'm going to go and tab a guy, because I like doing this every single year, I try and tab a guy that most people aren't tabbing to make the roster to see if they will. Last year, my guy was CRW, Christian Roland Wallace, and he ended up making the roster. That was kind of my fun wild card pick. I think Esapole is going to be my fun wild card pick to make the 53-man this year. Again, part of it's the Chiefs like carrying a developmental guy on the roster tackle-wise, especially if they don't think they can get to the practice squad. Last year is Ethan Driscoll and C.J. Hansen. It was kind of the combination of those two guys. C.J. Hansen at this point, I feel like might be on the outside looking in. Driscoll's been injured. So I think
there's no reason to keep C.J. Hansen on the team.
I wouldn't think so. And so I think Esapole is the guy that I would tab. He looked really good, I thought, and I know it's against the backups and third stringers really against the Cardinals, but I like Esapole. I think that's a guy that the Chiefs could try and keep and develop as a potential upside guy. And who knows? Obviously next year we think Jalen Moore at right tackle, but after that, what's it look like? Could Esapole in a couple years after the developmental process, could he be the future right tackle? I know it's obviously years away, but that's what I'm looking at, I think, is Pole in this one.
How much do you think he's going to play? Will he be with the twos?
Oh, I don't know. He'll probably play the entire second half.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's going to get him with the twos. It's just no. I wouldn't think he'd get him probably the threes. Because if you count Jalen Moore, it'd be Jawan Taylor and Jalen Moore.
Morris. Although, do they view it with when he says a lot of the starters aren't going to play? Maybe Jawan Taylor sits tonight, and they just go with Jalen Moore at right tackle with Trey and Creed and Kingsley and Josh Simmons.
And you give Esapole as
on
the left side too. I mean, I guess you could have him on either side.
I mean, Andy Reid did say we're going to take this game and try to give Brett Veach as much information as possible to make the final cut down, which still had the third preseason game to be able to do that. But it's interesting that the switch here, I mean, in theory, it could just simply be that Andy Reid and Brett Veach are we may need to figure some things out earlier. So let's have preseason game number 2 to get some of these guys an idea of if we're going to keep them or not, so then we can make some moves and start to maybe trade some guys. All right, this guy's not going to be on the team. Let's move him, and we can start the conversations right now. Let's do preseason game number 2. That's usually preseason game number 3. Let's get a lot of these guys at the bottom of the roster playing time, better view and angle on it, who we can keep and who we can't, so we can start working the phones if we need to.
I think Williams and Najee Johnson are both guys. I know we've had our complaints in Chiefs Kingdom about those two players, but they've also been starters at good chunks of time for the Chiefs. And you look at some teams that might really need some cornerback help. I know you've pointed out the Miami Dolphins have been desperate to try and get some CB help. If the Chiefs want to try and move, and you're not getting much back, but if you think that they're not making your team either way, and you can get something back, and that was also a situation where they got the Bossa pick and used that 7th rounder to help move up and get him.
Smith-Marset.
The Amir Smith-Marset situation. I mean, these are the minor moves that 95% of people don't care about, but when you get into the weeds, it's stuff that I think that the heavy Chiefs fans, and I think us included, we at least
the lighter ones too. I mean, it doesn't matter what you weigh.
I enjoy looking at some of these more minor situations that could have bigger impacts in the future.
Yeah,
and it's a great issue, a problem to have. And we've had it a lot, not really a problem. The last several years with this team, it's like all the roster cuts and all the guys you're worried about and all the battles are so far down this roster. And are between 2s or 3s or whatever. There's the occasional left tackle, right, which was a big issue. But so much of this team is known and in place, and they go into training camp and preseason every single year with, I mean, they know 85% of their roster. It's just these final few moves and kind of where they're going to fall. And it's a luxury that most teams don't have.
Remember when we were in River Falls and everybody was saying, "Hey there, Delilah, what's it?" That song, and
Plain White Tees.
Yes, that's
Plain
right.
White Tees. Yeah.
So we were up there, and the drama was Damon Heward versus Brody Croyle.
Yeah.
Remember those days? They were trying to decide, and Hard Knocks was there. Brody Croyle and Damon Heward. Who's going to start for this team?
09, 07, yeah.
07 in
Turk
River
and
Falls.
Tank were the big
I love
storyline.
that. Bernard Pollard was twerking. Tamba Hali can't rap. He cannot. This is Tamba, and this is everybody, and it's Tamba, and I'm here. Pass the mic. Maybe go to somebody else.
Yeah.
But that was we were talking about not, is it Esapole or C.J. Hansen?
Yeah, exactly.
Are they going to trade Joshua Williams? Is it going to be Brody Croyle, or is it going to be Damon Heward? You got the wily veteran Heward, but man, if you could protect Brody Croyle, he could be a really good quarterback, I think, in the NFL.
I still believe in Tyler Thigpen.
Coastal Carolina in house.
But I think the secondary is interesting, and because the cornerback room I don't think is solidified, not just the back end, but who the starters really are with Watson, Fulton, McDuffie, how that breaks down. And I do think that the safety room has been intriguing, that it's been Shamari Connor ahead of Jaden Hicks. We all just assumed Jaden Hicks was taking over for Justin Reed. Hasn't been the case. Brian Cooks stayed in his spot, while Shamari's moved back to more that traditional spot, and then you're seeing a good smattering of CRW in there as well.
Yeah.
Jaden Hicks is still playing a lot. Obviously, a lot of, they do 3 safety sets all the time, but I guess that how the playing time and starter breakdown has transpired so far has been, I think, a little different than what most people have expected.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling a little Royals baseball on this side. Seth Lugo watched the first 2 episodes of The Kingdom last night. The second episode, a lot about Andy Reid. That was pretty interesting. And talked about in the noon hour about everybody trying to create a way to make the Chiefs the Pats. Not just that every year the dynasty's over, but also with the whole Rashee Rice thing and the referee thing. We talked about that as well. But Rashee Rice, the news with that came out yesterday. We'll continue rolling along. More Zone right after this. We keep rolling right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, and the Drake. Mick Schaefer hanging out with us until 2 o'clock. Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Fantastic spot to go and check out, hang out. If you're looking for some fun, some food, some family, go to Advent Health
Crazy darts.
Sports Park at
Slaps.
Blue Hawk. We haven't done the crazy darts.
So much fun.
But
Crazy darts, great. Bowling's great.
I want to do the we've talked about
Zip
this
line,
before.
great.
Yeah,
Food, great.
we talked
Pop
about-
a shot. I have the record.
I bet you. I bet you've got the record of all of the people at the Papa Shot at Advent Health Sports Park. Your name's up there, right? So Sterling.
You don't put your name in. It just shows the number.
So it could have been anybody then. You just you saw the number. Hey guys, I had 120.
Dibs.
That's 3 numbers.
It's a good callback, Drake.
Call back Drake. Call back Drake. That's actually what he leaves the message on my phone when he calls me. Call back Drake. Thank you, Jason. Call back Drake. 913-912-4810 is the text line to join us to be a part of the show. Text says, Pole never played football until he got to college, standout basketball player in high school. That's one of the things that excites me about him, is that, you got a guy that hasn't played much football, and then he starts to come on a little bit, and you're like, okay, let me see what this guy can offer. I'd rather do that than the other way around. Text says, I agree, Jason. Adrian Brody. Does that also mean you're a bleepy actor?
Didn't he win an Oscar?
I think Steve Buscemi.
The pianist, wasn't he
What?
up for Oscar?
I have no idea.
Pianist.
Wow. Okay.
Piano
That's an
player.
Oh, pianoist. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Text says, MKS President Steven Adams, very good dude.
Oh, good. Yeah, if that's who
Yeah.
I met out there, they were great dudes.
Yeah.
They gave me this really nice hat. So
Cool. Yeah, it is a cool hat.
His brother is Samuel
Jackson?
Adams.
Oh.
Steven Adams, Samuel Adams. I'm not sure where the Jackson came from, but
And I
yeah,
think Samuel, the first thing I think of is L. Jackson.
that makes sense. Yeah, no, I can see that. I had just said
his last name was.
it was Steven Adams.
Sorry, Royals. So, Lugo, you scared, nervous, concerned, terrified, petrified?
It's got to be his worst 4-game stretch with the Royals, right?
It is.
Not even close.
Yep, it is. It is his worst 4-game stretch. I went back and looked, and this is just to bring it. We did this a little bit in the 10 o'clock hour, but I did want to restate it just to talk about it with you, Mick. Thank you, Sterling. This 4-game stretch since he signed the contract obviously is concerning because 18 innings and 18 earned runs doesn't seem ideal. 14 walks and 10 strikeouts, not ideal. 6 home runs and 18 innings, not ideal. He had a stretch, the last start in July to the last start in August last year. 6 innings, 6 earned runs, 8 innings, 1 earned run, 5 innings, 6 earned runs, 4 innings, 8 runs, 7 innings, 2 runs, 5 innings, 6 runs. So he had a 6-start stretch where 4 of them were kind of like this.
When was this?
This was July 27th to August 25th. So pretty much
time of the year.
Same timeline it's on right now. And so one of the theories could be maybe this is just a stretch where he kind of goes through a dead arm period and he's got to fight through it because after that it was
Velo's down a little bit, right?
by 1 mile an hour on the
Oh,
fastball.
okay, that's
on
it.
the season, it's like 0.8 miles an hour, almost
But
a
the
mile
last
an hour.
4 starts, it's
I
not
ha-
down overall.
I haven't seen that.
So after that stretch that he had that struggled, after that it was 7 innings, 1 earned run, 7 innings, 1 earned run, 7 innings, no earned runs, 4 innings, 4 earned runs, 7 innings, 2 earned runs. So he got back to being Lugo, including a 10K no walk game, a 9K 1 walk game after that stretch. So I do wonder if this is maybe just a time during the season where maybe Lugo just kind of has a dead arm that he has to fight through. Hopefully that's the case. And if it is, you can sort of view it as a positive and say, all right, next year at this time, you can plan around it. Do you give him some starts off? Do you maybe in June or early July, you back off some of the innings a little bit? It's interesting. It happens right after the All-Star break. You have a little bit of time off. Then he comes back and it takes a little bit there. So this is now 2 years in a row, though, that he's had this sort of stretch at this time in the year. Maybe that's a trend. Maybe it's just something that 2 years from now, be like, all right, here comes the July, August Seth Lugo. Let's see if they can work around this over his next few starts.
It appeared too, and I wasn't watching the previous three that closely, at least on this, but the last start, that first inning, a couple of those calls in the corner, he was not getting.
Yeah.
And so if he feels like he's getting squeezed a little bit, maybe does he, put it over the plate a little too much there because he's all about, control.
Yeah.
With the 9, 10 pitches, whatever he has in his arsenal. And so if that's the case, that would make sense. But yeah, I hope it's just kind of this period and he can bounce back. I don't think this is what he's going to be like the rest of his career. No, I'm not.
This guy got his contract. And
right. I don't think he's that type of guy, too. But after 1 or 2, I'm like, okay, it's going to happen. After 3, I'm like, okay, let's wrap this up. After 4, especially with the granny in the first inning.
Yeah. Especially the Twins and the Nationals put 14 runs on you.
Well, and I didn't
in 2 games.
And what helped lead to the loss was he's one of those pitchers that he's so good. You can have that just kind of blow up inning and then just settle back in and dominate. Yeah. He was still leaking a little bit, right? Mm-hmm. Gave up those 2 runs. Both of one was a homer, I think. One was pieced together when we're like, you know what, you should have been out of this inning, and that got him to 7 runs. And, helped lead to the loss. But I'm not overly concerned. I don't think he's that type of guy. But honestly, with the way the pitching staff is banged up, he needs to snap out of it very quickly. Yeah. He needs to be one of those guys like, Lugo's going out there. There's an 80% chance we're going to win this game.
He can't be the main reason why they had 2 losses against Minnesota and Washington.
Right. Those 2 bad teams.
They've got 3 losses in this stretch, and 2 of them are directly because of Lugo giving up 7 runs in both. Yes, only 6 earned in this one, but that's not really. It's a distinction so small. Is it really worth making? Not really. 14 runs against the Twins and the Nationals. That's rough. Although the Nationals just went and beat the Phillies last night, so Nationals are like, see, we're really good. Although Minnesota stopped winning. Once they came to Kansas City, got a couple of wins, and now they're like, we're good. We did it, everybody. We've got our wins. We can lose to the Yankees and lose to the Tigers that the Royals are facing. We're just trying to screw them. That's all.
Yeah, look, it's baseball, and all these teams are so close, even from the top to the bottom, and things are going to happen. Bad teams are going to beat good teams, but you're at the point of the season where you just can't. You don't have that margin for error to where you can lose 2 or 3 from the Twins, and where you can honestly sweep this series.
Yes,
sweep this series.
I agree, and
win every single game.
Because you look and you're like, okay, you're up 3-2 against Minnesota in the 8th. You lose that game. You're tied 7-7 in the 9th against the Nationals. You lose that game. Like, you're 2 games out.
Yeah.
You're 2 games out of the wild card if you find a way to win those games. It's so frustrating and annoying, quite frankly, that they aren't able to do that, because they were definitely able to do that a lot last year. And then, when it mattered, certainly. But then September they went through their stretch, but they did enough and got in there. They were able to do that for a good portion of the season.
I think I saw, Passan tweeted this out a couple days ago. From June 14th to August 14th, the leaders of the divisions, 5 of the 6, I think, were different. The only one, Astros were the only ones that were leading their divisions at that time, 2 months later. So change can happen. But I remember last year when the Royals started to slide a little bit in September, and they were trying to hold on to that spot, and they weren't playing good baseball, and we're so worried about them. They didn't move that much because, just because other teams, really didn't catch fire outside of the Tigers, but there was a spot for them. And so that kind of has me worried in that, like, the Royals played bad baseball down the stretch last year and still held on to that playoff spot. How good a baseball is it going to take for them this year to jump those 3 teams?
Great baseball.
Great
Nick.
baseball.
It'll take great
like
baseball.
7-2 stretch.
Well, last night we were talking. It was really cool because we had JJ and Q on stage there, and I talked about, hey, you guys, made the run last year. How do you like your team? You think you're able to make a run similar to that this year? And JJ brought up the old axiom of, like, baseball is a sport where you play 500 baseball, but then just have one hot month, you're into the playoffs. And I was like, it's a great point. I'm like, I just hope your hot month wasn't like April 10th to May 10th, right? When they played their best baseball this season.
17-4 or something like that.
It was something like that, yes.
So I'm like, they may have already had that.
Yes. but don't want a second hot month.
But you know what's kind of crazy, though? A couple of days ago, we asked this question about the Royals' postseason odds to make the postseason. Is it too high, too low, or right on? And it was 7.1% at the time on Wednesday. And we're like, is that too high, too low? They're, right at 500 heading into that afternoon game. They're at 7.1%. I felt like it was kind of low. They lost that game. They're still 4 games out. You know what their percentage is now?
7.4.
8.3.
Wow.
8.3. They've gone up. They lose a game, have a day off, and their percentage of making the playoffs goes up. They're still 4 games out. They're still 4 games. That's still the same. They're 10 games out. They're further behind the Tigers now after Wednesday and the Thursday. But that's just like whatever the algorithm is that they come up with the percentage there. It's interesting. Another game passes, and they get better odds to make the playoffs when they lost that particular game. Just shows you how fickle that 7%, 8%. Yankees with like a 75% chance to make the playoffs. It's like they're up by like a half game. So, we'll see what happens with that. But certainly they'll have opportunities. The Royals will. And they've got these 3 games. And the White Sox have been better since the All-Star break. But they're like 2-7 in the last 9 games. They were playing much better baseball, and now they're back to being the White Sox. So this is a bad team that's playing bad baseball right now. This is not one of those to where you can go, well, they're like 14-14. Right, because it was like, what? The White Sox are winning all these games. This is odd. They're not doing that anymore. Now they're struggling again. You've got to take care of business in this series.
The frustrating thing about a lot of the Royals' losses, especially those last 2, the Nationals and the Twins, like the defense, especially last game, they did not play well. It's gotten leaky there. We've talked about the base running and maybe some opportunities not made on the base paths to where, like, okay, first inning grand slams are going to happen. Things are going to happen. You're going to give up runs. You're going to strike out. But they didn't play great baseball in those areas where you need to, right? That should be almost automatic, with defense and with, smart base running and stuff like that. I think if they shore that stuff up, things can be good.
They are 12-12 since the All-Star break. But they are 2-8 in their last 10 games.
They were like they start off 10-3 or something like that.
So they were 2-8 their last 10 games, but there's that makes them 500 since the All-Star break. So they lost 2 of 3 to Detroit. They lost 2 of 3 to
Cleveland. You're talking about the White Sox. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
So the Royals are better than the All-Star.
Yeah, they got swept by Seattle. The White Sox did. So swept by Seattle, lost 2 of 3 to Cleveland, lost 2 of 3 to Detroit, and now heading into Kansas City. So this is it's a big 3-game set for the Royals. It's tough to go into any series and say, hey, you should sweep this team, but they're not the White Sox of last year, but they're also not the White Sox of July 18th to July 31st.
Or the 2005 White Sox.
Jermaine Dye's not walking through that door.
No.
And if he does, he's going to be old and wrinkly.
I'm not scared of Paul Konerko anymore.
Maglio Ordonez no longer scares me.
AJ Pierzynski, Mark Burley.
Yeah.
Nope.
He's more burly than he was even then. But
Juan Pierre?
Nope. Juan Per, don't care. Although, if you want a quick game, I think Burley can still get you an hour and 45. In today's today's age, hour and 45 with Mark
He's
Burley.
like, why is it 20 seconds? Why is it so long?
I
Make it 8.
When I had post game, I loved Mark Burley games. Like, oh, Mark Burley's on the mound. Heck yeah, yes, let's go. They're going to lose the game, but it's going to be like 2 hours and 20 minutes. This is great. This is going to be good. It's not going to be like a 3.5-hour game. Doug Davis is on the. Oh God, do I call in sick? Who do I call in sick to? Is it Tony Pena?
Doug Davis was slow.
It was a human rain delay almost, man. It would just, oh God, he would not survive in today's baseball. All right, we'll take a timeout, come back. We got the cuts coming up next. All right, wrapping things up here on this week's worth of shows. You know, I did 6 shows this week. I did 2 Wednesday shows, or maybe did 2 Thursday shows. I'm not sure. But we've made it to Friday, everybody. Chiefs preseason game number 2 coming up tonight. 8 o'clock pregame on KSHB 41 Sports, and 6 o'clock Central Bank pregame show right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. And we'll see what happens in preseason game number 2. Let's see what happens in the cuts as we wrap things up here on this Friday edition of the show. Take it away, Drake.
Don't just eat the meat. Don't just eat the meat. You got to eat the bun.
Oh.
You all right in there?
No, not really. I'm thrown off. Tom Brady really screwed me.
Get back on. Well, add you to the list.
Sterling would go to the bar. A girl would give him his phone number. He'd say, I got 10 numbers.
That was good. Yes, that was good. Mixed mic isn't on, I don't think. Mic 4. It's 3, 4, whatever. It's fine. It's fine.
Offensive line body, but it's more of a guard body. Big wide ass, low anchor.
A PSL hits. I'm sorry. Call me basic. It's delicious.
You are a basic bitch.
So, Levo. Top rope. Yeah, it's interesting because we view it from a 3, 2, 1. We'll fix this in post, Les. We view it from a perspective of nailed it.
I stood up and gave the clap. My wife was like, "What are you doing?" I go, "I'm excited."
I stood up and what'd you do that for? My wife was even like, "What are you doing?"
I'm excited.
Deebs. He's
your protege
under the wing, the protective wing of Jake Gutierrez.
I got you.
There's very few people I do that for.
Is that a good thing?
No, this is serious, and I think Nate could testify to this. If Jake accepts him and lets him nurse from his teat of wisdom and nourishes him, then yes, it's a good thing.
I got you.
Because there have been some people that have been forced upon Jake.
Right.
I can see that going
and Jake
bad.
does not offer his teat.
Well, I mean, look, he showed up for about 2 months straight, and I was not very. I mean, I ran him through the ringer. I wasn't nice to him. I just ignored him most of the time, and he kept coming back and kept coming back, and then I finally just give him a little bit more.
Okay. A little bit more.
A little bit more.
A little more teeth.
A little bit more teeth. And now he's
a little nibble.
suckle.
At one point, Deebs was a young suckling.
Chadia taking part, joining in. A little suckle.
You don't know about Sturgeon Moon?
I saw some picture of it.
Well, we didn't get to see it, I guess, at least where I was last night because it was cloudy. But it was a rare occurrence where you got 2 full moons on. You got the full moon on back-to-back nights. That almost never happens.
Right, sturgeon.
But it was a full moon on back-to-back nights this weekend, and it was like big orange one.
I'll show you my sturgeon full moon.
Back-to-back nights.
Probably why you got in trouble at college.
I got trouble last week.
Mooning
The
people's
uniform.
always
They need to go back to the old style uniform.
What
I
is a
hate their
commander?
current.
Is there a real rank? You're from a military family. Is commander a real rank in the Navy?
I have no idea.
By the way, Kyle has 19 shirts that say "Beat Navy," so I don't know why I just asked him how the naval ranks happen. How they work. Flaw in my logic there.
You come from Army lineage. What do you know about the Navy?
It's like a great line in.
They suck ass. That's what my dad would say.
It's what my dad says. I don't know. They suck.
I'm not a morning person, so I try to at least make it entertaining for myself, to give myself a challenge. But freaking Harrison Butker's decided this year that he's going to go out like an hour before practice every day and start warming up, and I can't. I mean, do I need to be out there at 7:45 in the morning to try and beat Harrison?
No. I live by one simple rule: never try to be better.
It's smart though, because then you can't fail.
No.
You can't be surrounded by yes men. You have to be somebody says, "Hey, Seren, that's wrong." I mean, I know you're never wrong. I'm just using that as
and then I always say,
as an example.
And then Kyle and I always say, exactly right, sir.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, you're right, Seren.
Where do you think Gervetta went, Frank?
Hey, you're right. Hey.
Kyle drops those ones in there. Those He's a sniper from time to time that you won't see it coming. We had like 2 or 3 of them from today that I haven't cut yet. We'll hear those next Friday, Sterling.
I didn't have as many. No,
oh, really?
Not me. I don't think.
Yeah.
What'd I say?
I'm not going to say.
I don't think I.
Because then I would be a part of it next week.
I feel like mine are all taken out of context. I think everyone else is absurd, of course. Mine, I feel like
you have a goal every segment is to get on this segment.
I disagree.
I don't know.
Filibuster.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, if it's not your goal, then bravo.
Yeah,
it's just you have just naturally walked into the cuts.
Yeah, I'm like you're
natural.
The Messi of cuts.
Yeah,
naturally talented.
You're this generation's Danny Klingscale.
Yes, yes.
I can't do a very good Danny impersonation. I was trying to think of one, but I can't even say thank you in his.
We know someone that can.
Thank you, I guess. Not sure it's a compliment from me.
I like it. It's good Danny.
Whatever.
It's a good Danny.
Okay, Stan.
Danny and Denny. Those are your 2 best.
Is that right? What if Denny was doing a Danny impersonation?
Let's not try that.
I'm not going to try it.
Let's not.
I'm actually not going to try it.
You should work on a Donnie.
Donnie, Danny, and Denny all walked
Donnie
into a bar.
from Big Lebowski.
You're out of your element.
There you go. That's right, because you're Steve Buscemi.
Steve Buscemi.
That's what it is.
You've had that impression your whole life.
Exactly.
I just look on your face.
I show up and they're like, "Is that Steve Buscemi over there? Is that Bill Shakespeare?" That guy, boy, he can really act. That guy.
You didn't get quite as many cuts this time around, Mick. You've really toned yourself back.
I'm never in them. You're in them all the time.
I feel like you're in them a lot.
We haven't had as many nipple drops from Mick.
I'm in them for saying hilarious stuff.
Yeah.
Not sexual innuendos.
Innuendo. The problem is, like, if you're in there for funny stuff, what's been going on? Well, I haven't been in the cuts in a while.
Yeah, I don't know what goes on back there. Why they're not cutting those up? Why they're not editing them together?
Where's Dylan?
Gosh.
Where's Shane? Why isn't Beards
Drake's
doing?
sense of humor like?
Where's Shane? What's Shane doing? Is Shane still working? What is Shane doing? I never know what he's doing. Shane, the meatloaf. Shane, the cuts. What's he doing? I never know what he's doing there.
I don't really ever know, but he has a nice office, and I talked to him back there.
There he is, right there.
There's
He's
Shane.
like, what?
Hey, Shane.
Shane, the meatloaf.
Shane, cuts.
Cuts.
Cut, Shane.
We need you to be better at doing the cuts this week.
It's on you.
Jackass.
Yeah, you didn't do enough cuts this week, Shane.
Yeah, thanks
it's
a lot,
on you.
man. Thanks a lot, dude. Yeah.
He gave us a thumbs up with a smile.
That's fine. The guy's Shane not going to Ireland. Thought he was a K-State fan. Turns out, fair weather. Fair weather.
All right,
Stay stateside.
Surprise cuts. We did it with Matt Derrick. We've given ours. Surprise cut. Who do you think it might
Who
be?
did I say the other day?
Oh, I thought you were saying, is there a surprise? Ooh, Drake's going to play a surprise cut for us.
No, I was.
Who's your surprise cut? / surprise. You got cut.
Let's do Josh Williams. Would that be a surprise?
I like it. That's
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
Matt
he's
Derrick.
been a guy. He's been a guy.
He's been on this team for a while. He's got postseason interceptions.
Surprise make?
Brownlee.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Yep. I like it. I like the Esapole, too. I think that's an interesting one. Tonight could decide the. You know what? This is what I think is going to happen with preseason games, Mick.
Yeah.
I think tonight and the other preseason games can go a long way to deciding some fates of these players.
That's right.
I really believe that.
And I'm going to trust the coaches to it and probably not be watching second half. It's a Friday night on my day off. Come on.
Over under 10:30, he's asleep, Sterling.
Oh, under.